Well, guys,
we're back!
Oh my god, not only are we back.
Not only,
which we're back, but this is the first time ever we're like gonna go episode by episode while the show's actually airing. So
it's insane.
It's a first. So we've arrived.
It's a huge first. Thank you very much. First.
Yes. So just brace yourselves for that, because it's gonna be wild.
We're popping our season 3 tomato. Yes. That'll make sense later.
Yeah. Hopefully you've already long? No. Hopefully you've already seen the episode and aren't relying on us to tell you.
You better not rely on us, because
turn this off and go watch it. We're both actual patients. Yeah, so anyway, blame our sicknesses also on this episode.
Yes.
So how do you feel now that we've arrived?
Listen, it's been a long road. It's been
a
long road.
Right?
I'm really excited that we're doing this finally in a video format for those that prefer that. Yes. And I'm also excited that we're going to start with this whole new season of, we finally get to see what they're going to do with Raylla when they're not at odds in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And we're also going to get to see a lot of witch history, and that's the most exciting part.
Yes. Eliot has said we're going to go and see not only witch history, but this season we're going to dive into like the pockets of witch culture, which is super cool because we've like heard about pieces of it, like the matrifocal compound, the session, but like we're actually going to get to see what that looks like. And so it's just Eliot doing world building, which is always incredible because the man is just a genius at it. So there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff up ahead this season, and I think we're off to a good start so far with our first episode.
I really think there's a lot of, I don't know, we've skipped ahead a month for one thing. Just get that out of the way.
We have skipped ahead a month. That is confirmed.
I was afraid it would be longer, so I'm glad it isn't. However, a little bit, I wish we could have gotten more road trip vibes. So.
You, me both. That's what fan fiction's for at this point, guys. It's been a month. What happened? Take that as your prompt. Run with it. If you haven't already.
If you haven't, yeah.
Yeah.
So the title of this one is Homo Cantus, which says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a spoiler for the opening scene.
It is, because, well, let me first say that it's written by Eliot.
Obviously.
And directed by Amanda Tapping, returning again, one of our faves.
Yeah, they're the dream team. Ugh, love them both. Thank you.
So, absolutely. We're going to open on the OG witches, which, I mean, like, this space that they're in, to me, it looks like a tundra, because they're all in, like, super thick hides, and they're bundled up. So it's like a tundra somewhere. Where are they? Siberia, Canada? I mean, we know they're in Canada, but, like, historically speaking, where are we?
Yeah, I mean, it's very flat, too, wherever they are.
But so we also have to... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was wondering if it was, like, between an ice age, too, like, you know, because of the clothing.
I was just about to say we have to take into account that this is, like, prehistoric.
Yes.
So the climate would not have been the same as it is now. So they're probably in the middle of America. They're probably in Salem.
Where the mycelium will later be birthed. They somehow ended up there. Because it's magic. Like, I don't know, this just feels right. It feels right. This is the spot, guys. But they didn't say any of that because they couldn't.
They didn't have language.
They felt their way to that spot.
They did.
They did.
It was like, they had one of those divining rods. That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, oh, this one. Here, everyone here.
Right here.
All right,
Yep.
you stand
Gather
here,
up.
you stand here.
So you got 6 women who've come together in a circle, and they're, like I said, they're all wearing hides. And let me tell you, the first one that you get a full-on face view of it's just Lexa. I'm like, what the hell is Lexa face paint doing in Motherland? Is this like an homage?
Yeah, I was like, the Grounders? What happened?
Yeah, like, are we merging? It's fan fiction and it's a crossover.
So give us Clexa is what I'm saying. Let's redo that.
Pretty much.
It's Pride Month still.
It's Pride Month, Lexa 2.0.
Yeah.
So you've got, everyone is a little bit different in their outfit, but they all tie together. Like, it's all the same hide. It's all like similar hair. They've got either braids, like a long braid or whatever. So we still get braids. And they start to sing this really haunting song. And it seems to stir the heavens. And we get lightning, but it looks really controlled. As in, it's staying in a small radius. And the wind is whipping around them in like a perfectly round shape. So it's very contained and controlled. And the lightning is bluish in hue. So I don't know if that's important, but it all comes to this crescendo and they stop singing. And everyone looks like super amazed and happy, like they just invented bread or something. I don't know.
We did
but
it,
really,
guys.
what did they do? We did it! We invented Post-its.
Let's hug. There's hugging.
So they all embrace, and we learn that this is like the birth of language. Before, so they do the hugging, and then all of a sudden they say in mother tongue, "Let us begin."
In unison,
like it was planned.
Which they couldn't have practiced that because language just got invented.
Language.
It's kind of amazing what they just did.
I know. It's like, it's magic.
It's literal magic, correct?
Literal magic. It's the birth of language and magic. So basically what we're saying is language is magic.
Yes. Oh, how poetic, Eliot. Well done.
Good job, Eliot.
Good job.
So after they all say, "Let us begin," they in unison turn and start walking in opposite, like all these different directions. And you're like, it's over?
Right. Like, let it begin. Okay, fuck you guys. Bye.
Bye. It's like, what's beginning?
This is the weirdest group I've ever met.
I know.
Do they know each other?
This is the weirdest Burning Man I've ever been to.
Yeah, it was over so fast. That was it?
Had lightning, and then we all parted ways.
We just casually invented speech, and then we're like, bye.
Bye, sisters.
Bye, sisters. Yeah, exactly.
They just walk off, and you're like, okay, cool. Well, and then that's the end of the scene, and you're left to wonder where these women went.
Who are these women?
Who are they? And you don't really have a lot of context for what's happening and what's going on in this scene yet. So
no, it happens. It began. And we walked away and literally went to the title sequence,
which I thought was a pretty nice. I like the opening scene. I really did, because it was beautiful, haunting, and we got to see Eliot's concept of the beginning of language and work.
Yes, and
the first song. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the first song. Eliot confirms that in the After the Storm. Mm-hmm. And so the first song is the birth of language for humanity. And so I want to shout him out on how clearly he researched this too, because the title card that opens says 136,455 years ago. And so I was like, that's a random, seemingly random sequence of numbers. Like, what does that really mean, like, historically in our timeline? And it does coincide with, like, when first language amongst Homo sapiens probably evolved. So, like, he's kind of, like, tying in not only witches got language, but, like, Homo sapiens as the species get language from this. So, like, good on you, Eliot. That was historically accurate.
The man researches. He's so detail oriented.
I know. I'm not surprised by this one bit. So I love that little touch from him. And then he also said in After the Storm, when they like walk away, basically what they're doing is they're going to different corners of the world and bringing language to those people in the different parts of the world. So not only is that like when language first happened was with this storm in this song, but this is also like they were the vectors to bring it to humanity, were these 6 witches, basically.
Right.
And he purposely gave us this clip, and he says that like throughout this whole season, there's more of this like mystery kind of stuff that happened with these ancient witches, and so it's gonna like so we're gonna see them again multiple times basically throughout the season, and he's gonna unpack all of this through like one main character. Tally is my guess.
It's Tally's season. I think it is. Because if she's seeing the future and shit.
Right. Who else would be the vector?
Who else would be the...
Yeah. I mean, okay. Kalita obviously knows some shit about ancient witches, but it's more likely Tally, let's be real.
Kalita's too busy teaching children.
And
telling Nick to fucking drive.
I mean, would she be Kalita if she wasn't doing any of those things?
Right?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So yeah, after we start the OG Witch mystery with that glimpse of the first song, then we go present day to somewhere in the Midwest, which is what the title card says.
I need to interrupt you right here because the only thing, as soon as I saw that title card, the only thing in my head was that meme of the woman that's like,
oh,
where are they? Somewhere in the Midwest, but where?
That is an apt visual. My first thought when I saw that, because like it's the title card that says somewhere in the Midwest. Then there's an exterior of this giant, like generic red factory building with like a white pickup truck, and I was like, yeah, this is probably somewhere in the Midwest. Like
literally,
yeah, it's probably a spot that looks like this, I assume. So yes, good job. The Midwest is the same in Motherland universe, I guess. So I love that. But there's like signs outside. It's called Amcorp Distribution is the name of this building. And so this is the Dodger facility where essentially the fugitives have been hiding. So inside we see the unit, Scylla, Nicta, Adil, and Kalita. So they've been hanging out in this like distribution center. Who's notably missing from this is Quinn. So, like, did she fuck off immediately after the finale? And is like, this road trip sucks. I'm leaving. Good luck.
Goodbye. Good luck with the kids, Nick. I'm out.
Yeah, she just is like, I guess you're in charge because you're a fugitive and have to stay with them. I have a life in the session. Bye. I guess maybe we'll cross paths one day. How did I get in this van? I'm leaving.
I need to make it hail. Bye.
Yeah, I have weather parties back in the session. She had to go check out Papa Collar because like he can't be left alone.
Yeah, he can't. No,
he can't. So Quinn's absent. No one mentions her. We'll see where that goes. Yeah. Anyway, so they're at this distribution center. The adults are working there. Kalita isn't, thank God, because she's a minor. But of the gang, it seems like Tally and Nicta are the only ones who are like actually working and like taking the job seriously.
Hello, Tally and her, okay, who mixed 3-hole with plain letter? And I'm like, Tally, you really care about paper.
She does. She does. Tally wants to be Dodger Employee of the Month. Like she does. She's
it
going
was
for
adorable.
It was
I
adorable.
love her for it.
It's very Tally.
She angrily stormed off with that box of paper.
It had to go somewhere else. It was in the wrong spot. So, but before she does that, Nicta and Tally have like work banter, basically. So like they're talking to each other. That's being established, and Nicta is wearing a new face because she has a brain cell and she's been a fugitive her entire life, and is like, I can't have Nicta Batan's face in this place because it will, make it easier for the government to fucking find me because, they want to kill me. So anyway, I'll rant more about that later. But apparently, like, the unit gives zero fucks about any of that. And they're like, evading arrest, who gives a shit? We'll be fine. We're gonna hide in this building. If we're in the building, no one will know, even though we have our faces and we're on the fucking news, but whatever. So,
well, they weren't on the news yet, though. At that
yes,
point.
They were in the season 2 finale. They are on the news.
Oh my god!
They've been on national news since the finale. Like, that's not new. So I hate their logic for this because, like,
worst fangirl ever. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, it's aggravating that it's just Nicta. Anyway, but the unit apparently gives zero fucks about evading arrest and then, like, working at this plant, because the next scene is Raylla attacking Scylla's face while they're on the clock, and they're like flirting up against a wall because neither of them.
Jesus, that's her job. She is on the clock, literally.
She has she's been ordained from the heavens to do this job, and she's doing it, or she's trying to, because she doesn't want to be Dodger of the Month like Tally does. Because Raylla just wants Scylla real bad and is mad that she's wearing a lot of clothes because they're at work, and Raylla doesn't want to be at work. But during this, Scylla's just like eating up all this attention because she deserves it. She was like attention starved in season 2. And so, like, good on you, girl. Bask in the lesbian Jesus glow. And like, everyone hydrate yourselves. Hydrate for Scylla because she deserves the lesbian Jesus energy.
God, yes. Hydrate for Scylla.
Good for her. She deserves it. And she also has half a brain cell in this episode, so
she does. She and Nicta have the brain cell between them. Let's be real.
No, yes. Nicta has a whole brain cell. Well, okay. It's like 50-50. I agree with that. They're splitting the brain cell because they're distracted by certain ladies. 60-40?
Yeah, it's 60-40.
Nicta to
I have to
Scylla.
take it a little bit more away from Scylla because of the incident that we're going to discuss.
Right, yeah. That's why I didn't want to go 50-50, because I think Raylla is stealing some of Scylla's brain cell.
Yes, some of Scylla's brain cell is down south. We'll just put it that way.
And Tally's stealing some of Nicta's, so that's why they're not 100%. Really, this is all Quinn's fault, because if Quinn was there, she'd be like, get your shit together, all of you. There's no leader, that's why.
Yep.
So this is what happens when you leave teenagers in charge of saving the world. This shit like this happens. They're attacking each other's faces up against a wall when they're supposed to be working. And I think what this scene, aside from just like Raylla fan service, I think what part of the scene is supposed to really indicate is that, like, they've been here for a month and it doesn't seem like anybody really has privacy in this facility, is what that's really showing. Because, like, Raylla's like, if they had a place to go do that privately where they wouldn't get interrupted, they would be there doing what they're doing. But, like, this entire warehouse is just, like, full of people. Like, people sleep there, work there. Like, there is no actual privacy. It's like this big communal space. And so there's no real privacy here. I think that's part of the issue. It drives a plot point later, but I think that's part of what the scene is trying to show. And yeah. This gets interrupted because there's people everywhere by somebody who, like, what did she just get out of the shower, this person? She's like in a robe passing by, like, she's just like in front of my shower, like, come on. And then and then Raylla just, like, kind of giggles and is like, oh, maybe we should go in the shower. And then we cut away from them and get a tour of the Dodger facility after that. So it's just like big space, but it's like they eat, work, sleep, do everything there. And notably they show this, like, corridor that has, like, beds, basically. It almost looks like in season 1 when we got that mama collar letter from Raylla, like the first one, and she's like showing her like the sick bay underground when it was just that hallway and there's just like gurneys and bodies everywhere. That's kind of what the Dodger hallway looks like. It's like they're just taking up whatever space they can, and like people are living there, including like little kids. So put a pin in the hallway where the kids sleep because that comes up later. But from there, we move over to see what the kids do. So, like, adults are working and the kiddos have, like, school lessons, and which is great because we have Kalita here and Tiffany and they're minors and they shouldn't be working even in this world. So, reminder that, like, manual labor is still illegal for minors in Motherland, Fort Salem world. So, that's nice. Good on them. And after the tour, we get this, like, I don't know, work powwow by like the head Dodger dude who's in charge. He like lines them all up, like all the adults. So it's like the core four and Nicta and Adil. And he's like dishing out work orders to them because it's like important that they keep working because they have to like make this a legit business so the Dodgers can stay free. Because remember, the Dodgers are all actually evading the government as well. So they're all technically fugitives, like all of these people. It's just the unit and Nicta are like the most wanted in the country, but like the Dodgers are all technically fugitives. So they're like, hey, we have to make this look legit so no one comes here so that we can all like not go to jail or like get conscripted in the army or get killed like Scylla's parents. So he's like saying, you guys better do a good job, blah, blah, blah. And then calls Raylla out for being a terrible employee because he reveals it's been a month and you still don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, how? Like, you have to actively be like bad at your job. And so after that, Nicta kind of like pulls the gang aside and it's like kind of calling them out for being terrible fugitives too, where she's like, hey, like, remember, like, we're gonna have to like move on from this place pretty soon, and like you can't hide in this building forever, and you're going to have to change your faces because we're gonna have to go outside, and like the government is looking for you. And then we get like the first clue that there's like resistance amongst the unit about doing this. And by that I mean spree work, which I have so many feelings about this because it's a very weird hill to die on. Is like, we're not going to change our faces to A, evade the treasonous charges against us, and B, to protect the integrity of these Dodgers who are also fugitives from the law that were nice enough to take us in. And so to me, it's just like this whole episode is like the price of privilege, because like they're coming from a stance of privilege of like Abigail being like, my mom's gonna fix this is temporary, and then I don't know what Rael's problem is, but she's really adamant about this, and it's just like teenagers being stubborn. I don't know, it's like how I read it, and it's just really annoying because like they keep bringing up that like, well, spree work is dirty and like it's unclean, and it's like, where was the complaint when spree work through Morgan's whisper broke you out of the prison van at the end of season 2? There was no complaints of being like, well, that was spree work and it was dirty, how dare you save us, Scylla. And like, where was the complaints when Nicta glamored the van to get them out of that situation? Like, nobody was complaining then, but like suddenly now we have an issue with like spree match. I don't know, the whole thing is just, it's like a MacGuffin, and I hate it because it's so like privilegey and just dumb.
It's the writers have put themselves in a position where they cannot replace the 3 main characters or there will be riots. So they can't change their faces.
I mean, they could have, though. Like, okay, in this episode, spoiler, it's revealed that they have like the camera has flashlights that undoes work. So like in this episode, they could have had them with their faces for like a montage, and then they go outside and then the flashlight happens and they're like, well, there's no point now, they can see us. And it would have taken like 2 seconds, but no, we had to have this weird resistance from like Abigail and Raylla. It's weird. I don't know, it's a weird hill to die on, is all I'm saying.
Well, Nyx is not going to stop changing her face just because they have that thing, and like they're not going to stop changing their faces just because there's that technology exists. So I just think it was really their way to say, well, we're not even going to bother with that part. We'll just have them. Also, it creates the tension that they want. Okay, I'm not saying that it's like a good idea. It's dumb as hell to me too, but at the same time, I'm just trying to explain why they might have done it.
I mean, the only it's not logical to me at all, and it seems like lazy writing. But I think the other piece too, if you're coming at it from Eliot's brain, it's also a realistic take on like if teenagers are tasked with saving the world, they're stubborn and petulant and not their brains aren't fully formed yet. So like they would do stupid shit that would endanger everything while thinking they were right. So from that lens, okay,
And
I can accept
also,
that.
I accept it from Abigail. I
Right,
expect it from
Rael's is
Abigail.
weird. I don't get her
Rails is,
like
she just basically
what?
told Scylla, basically it equates in your brain to her telling Scylla, you're disgusting.
Right.
Screw.
Exactly. Like Abigail kind of makes sense. Like Ashley said, like she's in that like I still have army values. I don't want to lose who I am position. Fine. Raelle being angry about using spree work is really weird. Like, yeah, it's really weird. And like Scylla looks really uncomfortable and almost like slightly disappointed in her every time she says it. Like, I want Scylla to confront her about this for real because like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's like a slap in the face to Scylla. Like, it's I don't like it.
You just got Scylla back and you're gonna pull that kind of asshole move?
Right, like this is the hill you're gonna die on, and you're like offending your girlfriend at the same time. Like it's just it's very weird. Like
you just called your girlfriend's like way she's moved through life dirty.
Yes, and like to me, this is just okay because like Scylla's the one that got them here. Like pulled favors and strings with this America's Most Wanted, and it's like, look, I'm good, my word's good, you like me, help me, and that helps them. And then they burn her by the end of the episode, like with no regard. It's like, was there no conversation where Scylla's like, hey, this is life or death for them too. Like maybe don't be selfish about this. Like I don't know. It's just like I feel like they steamrolled. I feel like they disregarded Nicta because they're like, you're a murderer, whatever, and then just steamrolled Scylla and like didn't listen to her because like she lived this life. Like it's like I don't know. Maybe they're just not fully bonded yet. Even over this month, it's still like Scylla and Raelle, and then like, but the unit out trumps Scylla still. I don't know. They don't see her as an equal, I guess.
It's really frustrating.
Yes.
I mean, like, I understand that they are young people thrust into a very precarious position in weird environment that none of them are used to, which they were in the army too, technically. But at the same, they had some stability through the whole structure of the army, and now they don't have that. And Abigail's like, I'm really trying to adjust to this. I'm like, okay, sure, that
But are
tracks.
you though?
Not
Right.
and also, like, hi, Scylla saved your butts how many damn times already? She's still saving your asses. None of you would be the fuck alive if it wasn't for Scylla presently. And
Yeah.
like, come on. I'm gonna have to breathe.
We wouldn't be at this warehouse if it wasn't for Scylla. And it's like
Scylla was their in.
Yes, exactly. Like you are in a place that's pretty safe, and we find out is pretty nice for a Dodger refuge place because of Scylla. If it wasn't for Scylla, like, what are you guys gonna do? Be in that van forever? Like, they had no plan. Like, she came up with the plan. Like, she was the problem solver. She's like, hey, I know this network. I know these people. Maybe they'll be willing to hide us, even though, like, bringing you is a huge fucking risk to them, and they're already at risk. And it's like, it's so selfish what they're doing because, I mean, for people who are just like, yeah, like Abigail, like, we're protect and serve and, like, all that kind of stuff. It's like, don't you want to, like, protect these fucking people who are also in danger? And it's just like, your weird, like, I don't know, privilege doesn't out trump their safety. It's just like it's a cognitive disconnect in a way, and it's just very frustrating. It's disappointing, honestly.
The fact that Mac even let them stay there with their true faces is a testament to either Scylla's his trust in Scylla,
yes,
and his good nature, or that man is just like a freaking
Actual
saint.
saint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But
It
I
just
think it's both. I think it's he's known Scylla and he trusted her, so by extension, she vouched for them and they fucked up. And now I'm like even more mad after the every time there's something to be mad about, I get more mad when I talk to you about it.
let the anger flow. But yeah, like I get really mad about this point because I feel really bad for Scylla because she stuck her neck out for them. Like this group of people who have like dismissed her for a while and then like is like, "Hey, let me help keep you alive." And they're just like, "Well, we're not going to listen to you." It's like it's so disrespectful to Scylla and that really makes me mad and I hope they start respecting her in the season is all I'm saying because she has like earned it like 100 times over at this point. It's like how many times do I have to like redeem myself to you before you'll treat me like somebody who knows what they're talking about in my area? Like I grew up in this life, you know. I don't know. I feel very mad for Scylla is all.
Me too. And the only bright point about this scene for me, besides, towards the end of it, was Taylor's face when Mac is like, "What is that copy paper doing over there?" And she's like, "It's a good place for it." It seemed like a good place for it.
But like that's so Raylla though, because Raylla doesn't fucking pay attention to anything. Like she doesn't give a fuck. Like, exactly. Like very in character.
Like, does it have Scylla's face on it? No, I don't care.
I don't care about that. Is this even a real business?
Yeah, but Scylla's like face when she does that, she's like amused at Rael's cluelessness about where the copy paper should go.
Right.
It's like she thinks it's cute,
does.
which she probably does.
Yeah, she does.
So, and I think that's cute. So they were cute in that little moment, and I liked. The other thing I liked was Nikta's recitation of all the stuff Mac was saying. Was just entire time like rolling her eyes.
You gotta love Nikta, is all I'm saying. She's the best.
Well, and do we need to discuss the fact that it's
yes,
new
I was gonna get to that. Well, Eliot calls it Nikta's other face. So we're introduced to Candace McClure. It's joined the cast as Nikta's other face, according to Eliot. And so it's kind of revealed in this episode that this is really like the face she normally uses, like out in the world, like post all her bullshit with Alder. So listen, I love Nikta. I do. Like, and she does a great job of being Nikta because I love Nikta's mannerisms, her energy, her confidence. It's all there. It's great. I feel very bad for Arlen because nobody else had to change their face, just Nikta, and I think that's wrong and everybody should have done it. But that being said, welcome Candace. You do a great job of embodying Nikta.
I have loved Candace McClure since I happened to see her in a show back in like 2000, which was called Higher Ground. That was the first time I ever saw her, and I have seen her pop up in things ever since. And I'm always like, I love that. I love her. And then she pops up in Motherland, and I'm like, wow, here's Candace McClure.
Her eyes are pretty.
Welcome to the fam. We love your eyeballs.
We do.
You can join Scylla in the Pretty Eyeball Club.
Yes, it's a hot competition. Yeah.
Wouldn't want to judge that.
No. There are no losers. It's all winners.
It's all winners in the eyeball competition.
Yes. And so that was Candace. And Candace as Nikta reads the unit to filth, which is wonderful, and I love that. And then that scene ends.
Yes, it does. But then can we not talk about this?
We're stalling because we don't want to talk about this episode, or we're just trying to make Caitlin's editing job hard. Hi, Caitlin.
Yeah, pretty much. So we get to go see VP Silver having a really gross interview with this woman who's totally flirting with him, and
she hugs him. What the fuck? It's gross.
It's the most disgusting display of heterosexuality that I've seen in a while, and just because it's VP Silver and this lady is fawning over him, and it just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, it's also like
But
you guys are working together. What is this? It's weird. The whole thing is weird.
are they on camera while they're doing like
It's
what is
just
going on?
I think so because like she just jumps in, she hugs him, sits down, and then jumps into the interview, and then we cut to it being on TV. So I think that was filming. Ew, the nation didn't need to see that, guys.
Yeah, no one needs to see that. This is on national television. The children are watching. Don't you
It's
care about the children? That's your whole thing. Family values.
Your daughters just saw that disgustingness. Ugh.
Yeah, good lord.
Good lord. Fire both of them.
You fire all of them. Anyway, so he's looking angry and like weirdly, I don't know what his vibe is right now. He's trying to be angry, but he's trying to be sad because he's talking about Penelope, but apparently he's living every father's nightmare.
Yeah, you know that nightmare where you choose to kill your daughter for like political reasons and then you have to go on TV and pretend to be sad about it. It's every white father's nightmare, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Privileged rich white father nightmares for 5,000. I think he got that one.
Yeah.
So he goes into this. Basically, he goes to this whole speech about how Penelope was the bestest, and then he's naming the unit. Their faces appear on screen. He says their names. He cadet officer, et cetera, et cetera. And then he says if they were innocent, why would they run? Bitch!
Because you called them out without a trial.
Yeah! You were... This is you, bro.
Victim blaming, it's gaslighting, it's all in this interview.
Yeah, and it's not like the public actually knows what happened, so they have no way of actually putting this within any context because they don't know what the Camorra exists, let alone that the witch plague exists, let alone all this other stuff. I mean, they know that the witch plague exists in some because it was on the Camorra, but you imagine that they kind of explain something away with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from what we saw at the end of season 2, it's like the clips that they're playing is just them killing Penelope, and the story that they're portraying is just like, oh, these witches killed my daughter. That's it. There's no context that like the base was under attack. Like the context has been removed. It's just been squished. So like goes to show you when you like cherry pick stuff from a bigger picture how you can manipulate it into your own means. Like that's what they're doing. This is classic propaganda is what it is.
It also shows you that the army doesn't have a lot of power with how they're being presented and how they are viewed in the press or how the press is actually covering them. Because if so, then there would be more information about what actually, happened or something.
Yeah, Petra would be on like the damage control tour. Like police chiefs go on when shit goes down in America, but that's not happening.
Yeah. But he talks about how he wants to ID all of basically anyone with unknown witch history through a genealogical project, and he wants to do it to protect them because the big bad witch establishment is so evil because it didn't protect his daughter like it was supposed to. I'm like, listen, this is the biggest sham that I have witnessed, sir.
And he says in that speech, there's 16,000 of them. Yeah. So like they already know. Like it shows that like he already knows like they're out there, and he's like, but we need to like identify them for their protection. It's like,
yeah, this is.
Why do you know how many there are already? That's real fast. That's fast.
This is every single concentration and or education camp in a totalitarian country.
Yes.
Coming to life right here is what's about to happen.
Yeah, he's basically admitting on TV to a witch hunt, but framing it as for their protection. They need
Yeah.
to know who they are so they can protect themselves. Not so we can
Yes.
identify them for real and know who they are and capture them. It's for their protection.
But we're also flashing back to we get this
Witches.
line. We're flashing back to the witches and we get, yeah, sure, protect with a pile of burning logs.
Because Nicta understands what the fuck is happening. Yeah.
Oh, that line.
I mean,
love it.
she was in the last season being like, they're just gonna burn all of us. That's what this is all about. Like, that's why I made the damn spree. Anyway.
We also get to see that Sterling is still on Silver's protection detail. And he's at this interview and about 10 feet away from Silver, it seems, using far speech to talk to Anacostia. What is going on, you guys?
Like, the Foley is picking up this conversation he's having with
exactly. How many mics are in this room to pick this up? Come on, guys. Or is it supposed to all be happening in his head? I don't understand. Whatever.
Yeah, good point, maybe. But I feel like they still have to speak out loud when they do far speech, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's somewhat garbled. But
I watched it 5 times, and I still don't know what Sterling says in this scene.
You don't? I watched it with subtitles, so...
Thank you. I don't know what he said.
I got it.
Okay.
Basically, it breaks down to they put a fetch on Silver. They joke about his girlfriend of the week, which I'm assuming is this reporter who's supposed to be doing her job, but is instead feeling up Silver.
Gross, yes.
And they talk about how people are going to eat up this interview, which is true. Because it's Trump land and not our daughters. So I hate it here too. And we cut back to the witches again, because I'm tired of talking about Silver.
Good, yeah. Aren't we both? Let's get away from it. Yeah, witches.
I only have so much energy in my head colded state. So we're going back to Mac, who says that he turns to the fugitives and he's like, she's like, we believe you. Well, most of us believe you. And then he's like, I'm going to speak for myself. And I'm like, you just like backpedaled twice there, Mac.
Yeah, but it goes to show that like some of the Dodgers don't want these like America's. They don't want them there because they're putting them in danger. So
yeah, exactly,
like,
which is logical.
Yeah, so like he's going out on a limb, like personally, by taking them. Yeah. Anyway.
Exactly. So Max says that most of them believe them, but they have to play by the rules. And basically he's reinforcing the idea that, hey, you guys are here because we are letting you be here, and if you fuck up, you're gone. We can't take any risks, and so be good. And then Mac is like, TTFN. And my favorite part of this scene happens, the only good part, where Nicta takes out her lighter and flicks it twice while looking at Raylla and Abigail and Tally, and then you see Scylla just looking at Nicta and smiling. Like,
yeah, you should do this.
Yeah, you should see.
Yeah. Because he says the line, I love the line that he says in this right before Nicta starts doing that, because she's like emphasizing like what he's saying. He says, make sure we're safe with you. Like, make sure we are safe with you. Like, emphasizing, like, we're all in danger. Like, you're putting us in danger. And Nicta's like, just change your fucking face and nobody would be in super danger. Like,
can we just get it over with? You don't have to keep it all the time. Okay, here's the one scenario where I really think you need to have your original face. All right, I will allow Scylla and Raylla to have their actual faces while doing things of a inappropriate / sexual nature, because that would be weird. But
right. I mean, like, again, they could have done this where, like, when they're working and interacting with the Dodgers, they have other faces on. When they're by themselves doing their own thing, they have their normal faces on. We could have done this very easily, guys. It's just teenagers are stubborn and petulant, and here we are. And they don't want to listen to Nicta. I think that's the other thing too. They're just like, ugh, you can't be right. You're Nicta. Nycta didn't survive like 30 years on the lam because she's dumb. That's all I'm saying. And neither did Scylla. Like, Scylla was, anyway. Like, learn from them. Like, they've lived this fugitive life and stayed alive, and I don't know. It's like they don't want to heal. Like, it's almost like they, not Tally so much, but the other two, it's almost like they're in denial about the whole situation by the way they talk. I mean, I don't really understand Raylla, but I feel like Abigail's just like in denial that this is even happening. And I don't know.
Okay, so I really feel like Scylla and Nycta are the only ones that understand what it means to have to survive, obviously. Yeah. Of course, the other Dodgers. So these three goobers are sitting here. Okay, I won't say these three, because Tally would change her face if the other two would. And I think that Raylla would be more likely to change her face than Abigail would, obviously. But she needs to stop insulting her girlfriend and just get it over with. So I wonder if we'll see them ever do it. That's my question.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so unless it's like, I don't know, I think we'll see them do spree work, but I don't think they're ever going to change their faces. My question too for like Abigail is like, speaking of people who have lived like today is going to be their last, what about Adil and Kalita, who've like literally escaped like a war zone where their family was? Like, I don't understand why like Adil hasn't talked Abigail into it and be like, can you not so we don't die? Like, I don't know, like, do they not communicate about this? Because like he's also lived this like living outside the law kind of life too, so that he doesn't, get killed by people who want to kill him for being part of the Tarim. So it's very weird, is all I'm saying. But bottom line is, Tally is kind of like, maybe. And then the other two are just like, no. Whatever. Anyway. Any more things about that scene before we move on?
No, can we go? Let's go.
Let's go. Then we cut to the most realistic part of the episode is Isadora and Petra at Fort Salem, and Isadora's announcing, like, yeah, it's been a month or whatever, but I already made a vaccine to the witch plague, which is like the most Isadora thing ever. Like, that's faster than like we made the COVID vaccine during this pandemic. Like, Isadora's like, I got this. Here, it's ready to go. It's been a month. And so, because she already very quickly solved the witch plague problem, that means off-screen Isadora had a lot more like free time to just do stuff. So what was Isadora doing off-screen during the hiatus? I think she had a lot of leisurely time to like walk in gardens and like spend time outside of her lab. I think she still spends time in the lab. Like at night, she goes and reads books to the mycelium and then talks about her day and like the things she saw. But Isadora gets a pat on the back for inventing a fucking vaccine in a month. That's insane.
Okay. Isadora is the most magical thing on this show. That woman can do every goddamn thing.
Literally. It's been a month.
There's a vaccine. Love her.
So, we don't know. But you earn some leisurely time, girl. Go in the garden and talk to the mycelium.
Yeah, like, just chill with your bud, the mycelium.
Chill with the mycelium. And Petra's also super pleased, like we are, about her stellar sciencing and is like, great job. And they talk in this scene about like, Isadora's like, well, how is being the HBIC now that Alder's gone? And Petra reveals that like, she says, it's been calamitous, but she was made for this, which is the most bellwether line ever. So like this whole scene is them being super in character and I love it. And
I loved seeing these two together though.
I love having
a chat. It was amazing. I love them.
There's nothing devious about it. They were just literally being themselves in the scene. And
it was so great.
It's so
actually
great.
Having a little chit chat. I mean, important things discussed, but still.
Yeah. We get to see Isadora being a wizard scientist, and then Petra is stepping into her role as like the general of the army, and seems like it's difficult, but she's managing because she's Petra and she's always wanted this, but still it comes with challenges. And then the other challenging piece is like her daughter's not there, so she kind of like reveals to Isadora in this conversation too that she hasn't directly talked to Abigail, and so that seems to kind of be weighing on Petra a little bit because like you know, she's always been able to get a hold of Abigail whenever she needed to. She can just show up at base and like accost her wherever, but like now she can't. So it's like you can see she's worried. And so that's like motherly Petra is there.
I love motherly Petra.
Yeah, it's very sweet. We don't get to see that side of her very often, but it like kind of peeks out a little bit here. And Isadora also mentions that like there's basically like witch plague residue all over Fort Salem after like Alvin unleashed it in the season finale. And so like her minions have been like cleaning it up, and she's like, listen, Petra, I know there's some goo still left over, but it's harmless. Like we got this. And there's like scientists scraping things off of trees. But they also mentioned that like she's like, listen, I got the witch plague goo under control, but there's this weird like low pressure kind of like pre-storm thing hanging out. Like you can see the clouds, like, and we don't know what the hell this thing's about. So like that's the thing that's happening. And then after that, basically we cut back to the Dodger facility, and now it's nighttime. So we're just like skipping hours. And Tiffany's back. So this is the Dodger camp that Tiffany got sent to. So that's probably how Scylla knew about this place, and like they went to it. So they get to interact here, and it's like bedtime until Scylla's like tucking her in basically, which is really sweet. And Tiffany is expressing that like she saw the news with the fucking units' actual faces, and she's like, I'm scared because they're on the TV, they're here, and like I don't want to have to move again. I'm like, she's like expressing that she's like struggling with like being a Dodger and is kind of tired of running, and like this is really hard for her. And so Scylla obviously gets that because that was her childhood. She reveals that she started running when she was Tiffany's age. So like she literally has lived her life and is like, I get this is hard. Like I really, really do. But like, you know, you gotta keep going. Like I assume they've had pep talks before, because Tiffany in this conversation is like, I know it's super cool to see new places, but like I'm tired. So it's like she's trying to like keep Tiffany's morale up, but like Tiffany's obviously like, I'm already over this. Like again, like I'm not adjusting well. I was thrown into this Dodger life kind of like the unit, but she's doing a better job at blending than the unit is. But
Thank
anyway.
you.
After that, like sad talk, Tiffany it's just like going after Scylla in this conversation a lot, and she's just like, hey, weren't you in the spree? Because like some kid. And Scylla is like, well, how did you know that? And Tiffany says some kids were talking about it, but like, Scylla, girl, in the last season, you told her you were in the spree when you saved her life from the Camarilla. So
who forgot? Where's the continuity here?
Scylla tries to blame the kid. She's like, make new friends, Tiffany. But like, girl, you told her. Like, you literally it came out of thine lips. Like,
not only did you say that you were spree, you said you've killed thousands and you enjoyed it every single time.
You revealed many dark things to this child yourself. And now who the fuck told you? Don't believe everything you hear, Tiffany, even when I say it.
I love it. Scylla's like gonna track down this kid.
Right. You look at go in the bathroom and look above the sink. That's who told Tiffany.
Scylla, your like lack of brain cell on one side is showing.
I'm blaming Raylla for this conversation.
Yeah, this is Raylla's fault.
She took the part of Scylla's brain cell that remembered she told Tiffany all of this
Come
and
on.
more. It was hilarious. But anyway, that was funny. She's like, get new friends, Tiffany.
Including me. I'm out.
In general, just get new friends. And while Scylla's trying to gaslight Tiffany, like this creepy alarm goes off of her head. And what's really sad is that like this alarm goes off and the kids all in this room just like immediately like turn their lights off and hide. So it's almost like they go through a drill, like kids in school. They're like, when you hear this alarm, this is what you have to do. And so they all like kind of like turn lights and hide like they're not there. So it's really sad, but like these Dodger kids probably have to learn this. And so Scylla, a Dodger kid, understands the alarm, understands the drill, and is like, stay here. And then she like takes off towards the danger.
I want to say one more thing about this scene before we move on, and it's that I really love seeing Scylla being soft, though. Just like, she's good with Tiffany, besides the whole fact that she's
like gaslighting her? Yeah, besides the gaslighting. Besides the gaslighting.
I don't think
very
I need to know they just forgot. Like, was it just a continuity issue, or did they just think that we weren't going to remember? Would they just feel like they needed to like invent a new way that she found out? I don't like what.
Listen, I feel like there's just a lot of gaucheries in this episode. Like, there's that. There's the unit being weird. It is what it is. Scylla probably forgot why she was at that camera ball. She's like, listen, I was just there to get the Exarch's face. I forgot Tiffany was even there. And watching me do all that. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's funny, though. I think it's hilarious.
Well, okay. Listen.
Maybe it's a COVID thing.
It's a COVID thing. Yeah. All right. So we had the alarm go off, and Scylla leaves Tiffany. Everyone outside is rushing around and shutting things down. But there is one thing that Scylla and Raylla learned from first season. We'll say from first season. And that's when the alarms go off, find each other and stay together.
Yes.
Because last time that didn't go so well, and Scylla ended up in a fucking dungeon.
It's like what they teach kids, like when they go on field trips, they're like, have your buddy. And it's like, find your buddy.
Find your makeout buddy. Sorry, what? So the alarm goes off. Scylla ends up rushing her. Everybody's rushing around. Scylla finds Raylla. And then this guy comes in and says, false alarm, everybody. It's just some Dodgers coming in. They smell like X-Spree. It's basically... they got that X-Spree look. And so...
Wait, can we talk about the visual of this gang of, like, spree-smelling Dodgers that come up to this place?
Yeah.
Why do they look like vampires?
Thank you! They do! It's like a vampire gang coming to, like, drink the Dodgers.
Right. Like, approaching this, it's like, why are there so many vampire vibes in this season, is my question.
There are. Oh my god, you're right. It's
right?
It's like Underworld up in this bitch.
They're like, well, like, First Kill came out. We have to get some vampire stuff in here. But it's just the way they look like a gang of vampires about to descend.
Well, Scylla does have that leather jacket this season.
But that could also be biker Scylla. Yes.
I'm going to choose to think it's Vampire Scylla, by Vampire Scylla. But,
think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, keep that in your mind. I'm going to be distracted for a minute thinking about that. But, yeah. Also, I think that was to hide a certain person's face for some reason. I don't, like...
Yeah, maybe.
I don't understand, but whatever.
Vampire vibes in more than one thing in this season already.
I guess what they were trying to say is they could be dangerous. We don't know.
Right. Who knows what they're going to do? Do vampires exist in this world? We don't know. Let's find out.
So he says that they put them to bed, and so everybody kind of starts to settle down again. And then we get Adil and Abigail flirting.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, okay, you guys, that's cool. Go do your thing, I guess. Whatever. And then we get Raylla and Scylla flirting, which was much, much nicer for me.
Yeah.
It was very cute the way that Raylla is just like whispering in Scylla's ear like that, but with her arm around her neck. And I'm like, all right, girl. Lesbian Jesus up in here being smooth again.
Hydrate yourselves. And hydrate for Scylla. She deserves all of this.
Scylla and Nicta right now.
Okay, listen. It's a desert for Nicta, but Nicta deserves her sapphic love also.
Good lord. Nicta's in the tundra with...
Nicta's trying. That's all I'm saying. We'll get there. We'll get there.
In the tundra by the Six Sisters.
Nicta's making progress, though, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it's true.
For Scylla, happy Pride to you, girl. You deserve this.
Yes. But then we get a really sad part because Tally is walking, as the lights turn off, Tally's just walking through the distribution center, and it's like there's one shot where it looks like it's Tally's album cover.
It does.
Like, you have like, there's some what is flash dance vibes almost about to happen or something. I don't know. You've
It
got an
does. No, it
yeah.
does. It does. Like Jennifer Beals is about to get the
Yeah.
chair and be like, "Ah," yeah.
Exactly.
It does.
And
Give
she's
it to
like,
us,
way to
Tally.
make a girl feel single.
Single.
I'm like, poor Tally. You don't have to be single.
Nicta's
There's-
right there, Tally.
Nicta's right
She's
there. Come on.
Like throwing herself at you. Like, figure it out, Tally. She's right there.
In either face, you're good to go.
Nicta's hot no matter the face. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Just go get her.
There you go. So we're like, Nictally should happen. And then...
And also, thank you, Eliot, for always giving Jess iconic lines. Because she delivers them so well. Thank you, Jess.
Yes.
So
Jess, good. I fucking love you. That's all I have
She's
to say.
incredible. We love you. But another iconic Jess line. Love it.
Another icon. Yes. So then we switch to what Rayla's been trying to do this whole time. I think we should make a drinking game for every time these two get interrupted. Honestly, we'd be toasted. But you see a copier, and this copier has probably seen a lot. Let's put it that way.
It wants to be put out of its misery. And go
I want to
away.
know how many like Raylla and Scylla butt copies have shown up all over the distribution center because they have had crazy gay sex up on it.
Okay, listen, call to listeners or people watching out there. We'll get back to you next episode. Let us know in the comments or tweet at us or whatever how many copies of Raylla and Scylla body parts have ended up plastered in this Dodger place. Keep in mind, it's been a month and this place is huge.
It's been a month. This place is huge. And I imagine...
Don't say your guess now because we'll say our guesses next month.
I'm not saying the guess. I'm saying I imagine that Abigail has like picked a shit ton of them up and like shoves them at Raylla and is like, really?
Like Abigail's the one plastering them all over the distribution center.
And Raylla's like, well, how do you recognize my vagina?
It's like, listen.
And Tally's like looking at it going, I can't tell if it's shiny.
I think a lot of people have seen parts of Raylla who are just random Dodgers because they're not shy about anything. So
no,
there you go.
Let's be real.
Those pictures and they're like, again, god damn.
It's like a shower area that everyone uses, and everyone has seen naked Scylla and Raylla.
Yeah, I mean they're witches. Like they're not modest. That's just part of their culture is not being modest. So things have been seen, is what I'm saying.
So we've established that all you guys are gonna guess how many copies of Raylla body parts.
Sorry, EP producer Caitlin put her guess in the chat. Bree.
Holy shit! Oh, that's a good number.
That's a good guess. We'll tell you what she said next time. Or next episode.
Oh, is it okay?
Okay. All right, I'm with you.
Okay, no, I know. We know what it's from. Okay, we're good.
No, we're good. You might just be the winner. Anyway. Yes.
Just because of that guess, but
yes.
We love you too. So anyway, back to the copier. Right. It's seen a lot. It's probably broken in some places. And I have yay for Top Scylla because they are switches, damn it.
But Scylla is the ultimate top here because we've seen this in season 1 too.
Yeah.
So, Raylla's the top when it comes to walls. Scylla has the bed down, is all I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure she's got the copier down too, but hey,
that too. We don't see it, but yeah, I agree. Hydrate for all of that.
You need to hydrate all the activity going on. So basically they're going at it. They're covered by some blankets, obviously, because,
It's
We're
probably
on
cold in there.
freeform.
Also, it's freeform. Because freeform and their homophobia. I'm kidding.
Listen,
The children.
We can get Tally and Garrett up against a tree naked, but we can't have the gays anything.
It's the double standard that I hate. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We can have Witch Father and
my brain was like, my brain was gonna go there, and I was like, no, let's not. And then you brought us there. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, you're there. Remember that?
Remember the babies?
We get like 0.5 seconds of top Scylla and Raylla trying to like reach out for a filing cabinet and like freaking.
Just like, I gotta make a copy. I gotta make a copy.
I left my copies in here. No.
That's where she puts them.
Yeah, they're in the filing cabinets, obviously.
When
they're all perfectly filed under body part.
When the cops eventually raid that place, they're gonna see some stuff in those filing cabinets.
Oh my god! Oh my god! It's gonna be, and they would, those cops would stay in that room forever.
Was there a murder? Like they're putting the body parts together, like Stranger Things, where they're like making the person out of the copies.
Exactly.
Anyway.
It's like it's a Raylla puzzle. I'd be down for that.
Right.
I want a Raylla puzzle now.
I was just thinking someone should make that merch.
Someone
Big
should
Witch
make
Energy
that
merch.
Yeah, Big Witch Energy Raylla puzzle. So of course we get the 0.5 seconds of that gloriousness where Raylla is always gasping. Like, have you noticed that?
Yes.
It's like when she's attacking Scylla, she's gasping. When Scylla's attacking her, she's gasping. So
it's their love language, I guess. When
it is their love language.
Someone is attacking someone else with love.
She's just like, Scylla takes her breath away. Literally.
Scylla.
They, of course, get interrupted again by someone walking up to use the copier. Why would you all know what that copier has seen? Why would you use it?
These are questions we don't have answers to, Eliot.
No, we need the answer to that question especially. But so they once again stop what they're doing, and my favorite line from I have like 3 favorite lines in this episode, and this is one of them. We opened at 12. I'm sorry, but that sounded like Taylor and not Raylla.
It did. It did. Because of the way Amalia reacts to that line.
The way Amalia laughs is like it was unexpected that she said it that way.
Right. What the fuck? Yeah.
I love it. So I want to know if that's true. If we ever get a chance to ask them, it will be I want that to happen. That will be one of my questions. Just saying.
I agree.
So they transition into this really sweet conversation where Scylla brings up the lighthouse. So this whole scene is Scylla being hopeful and thinking about the future and all of the normal things that they could do, and Raylla kind of being a little more on the melancholy side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, she's actually buying into this whole I could have a future. She's been through so much and there's still so far to go to get there. But Scylla's in a different place because she's gone through this whole journey of being a Dodger, losing her parents, conscripting, doing all of her terrorist activities, and then coming to a point where she finds a reason to live instead of finding a reason to cause destruction. So she has total, like, pretty much 180'd her perspective and what her purpose is in life, to the point where she's hopeful about things that she could have in the future, while Raylla is still on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
she's just lost her mother. She's just gone through the she has the mycelium, the witch bomb thing going on. She just killed somebody. It's a whole situation where she's kind of at a different place than Scylla is in her journey.
Mm-hmm.
But they've come together finally at a point where they can actually see a future together and move towards that. So Scylla's saying we could, buy groceries, return library books. And Rael's kind of like, it's a good dream. And Scylla says, what's wrong with dreaming? And Rael's like, nothing, Normal is good. Let's, we could have this someday. Let's get there. And Rael's like, I actually have a reason to think that I have a future now, and it's you. So you're my future, is basically what Rael's saying. And I wouldn't have one without you, which is true because you'd be dead, girl.
Again, how did we get to this distribution center, Rael? Yes.
Yeah.
Scylla keeps saving your life. Thank her.
I mean,
properly.
I know you're an immortal mushroom lesbian, but I feel like you, girl, you'd be dead because witch plague. Let's be real. The only reason Abigail was in that place was to get that revenge. And I don't think she would never have been able to save Rael. She and Adil.
No.
It had to be Willa and Scylla.
Agreed.
So, yeah. This is pretty much where we are. Scylla saved her life. Scylla gave her hope. Scylla gave her a future. Gave her a glimpse of what they could have in the future. And now they're on the journey together.
Yeah, and with Scylla too, you put it very, very nicely. What Scylla wears a lot in this episode is that feather necklace. And so to me, that's like the Emily Dickinson poem, hope, hope is a feather. So it's like a symbol
I
of
love that poem so much.
Right. Me too. And I think that that's what that necklace really means. And she's wearing it the whole time and it's visible. So to me, if it's visible, that means that she is hopeful. Scylla is hopeful. And here she's just spewing all the hope. She's like, I have leapfrogged past all of our issues and I'm all in with the dreaming, which is just not who Scylla was when we first met her at all. She was the pessimist, I'm going to die for the cause kind of person. So it says a lot about their growth individually and then where they are together. So it seems like they're kind of on the same page, but they're not at the degree of oh, this is what I think about our future. This is what I think about our future. Like you said, Rael has a little bit more growing to do in that aspect. Where Scylla's I'm all in. Let's fuck all this and just get a cottage and I don't know, chop firewood or whatever. But Rael's just listen, I'm wanted by the government. Let's chill for a bit. But again, there's hope for the two of them, I think, is the big picture of the whole conversation.
They have their big gay dream.
Right, exactly. So, they've done reconciling, I guess, over the month and are in a place where they can even talk about having a future together, which is pretty big. Ultimately.
I'm a little mad we didn't get to see that, though.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been nice.
I want to see that process.
I know. I want to see them process things.
I have a question, too, before we leave this scene.
What is your question?
Scylla mentions returning library books. Was she that kid, like me, whose favorite activity was to go to the library and just disappear into the stacks and find all of the books and read them? Just chilling.
I would have to think as a Dodger, where she's not allowed to have possessions because they constantly have to move. She probably was a kid that was at the library because it's a place where you can go and read and you don't have to own it. You don't have to. She didn't have to leave with a book if she didn't want to. In case they had to leave in the middle of the night. I feel like she probably was in libraries because that was an accessible place that would be perfect for a Dodger kid. Honestly, if her parents would let her go to the library, but like, I mean, I feel like she would be that kid because she'd have access to it realistically as a Dodger in any town she was in. So yeah,
Caitlin just said in the chat that she would just steal from Goodwill.
she probably had to do that, Caitlin.
Yeah. But she was also at the library. Don't
She's
ruin my
also
dream.
at the library. Yeah. No, I feel like that's a realistic thing for a Dodger kid to do, and so
I think it is too. Public libraries would be a good place to, do.
yeah.
Plus, there's so many. It's just a perfect place to blend.
Exactly. It's perfect thing to blend. Anybody can be there. And like, Scylla can daydream while she's in there. Like, because like looking at Tiffany, that's probably what Scylla was like as a kid who like didn't adjust to this immediately and was probably struggling with it. So if she could escape to a library and read a book for like 30 minutes, like that was probably a huge thing for her sanity. So I would like to imagine baby Scylla was doing that.
I would too. And I would also add that I think that Scylla got all of her spy skills from reading Nancy Drew novels.
I agree.
Because they weren't that good.
No.
I mean, I love Nancy Drew. I'm not saying the books are bad. I'm saying that...
No. Scylla's a bad spy.
That Scylla's a bad spy, and
bad.
Nancy Drew and George and Bess were also not great. Jesus Christmas.
She's just trying to be her childhood hero, is all it is.
Yeah, pretty much. She's trying to be Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
But with murder.
And bisexuality.
Bisexuality.
And leather jackets. So we like your version better anyway, so keep doing you.
Keep doing you, Scylla. Or Raylla. Or both.
Or both. Hydrate for both. All right. So speaking of gay stuff, then we move over to Nicta and Tally on the roof. So you have to note that they're on the roof. And they're like sparring with each other with like tubes or pipes. I don't know where these things came from because like I thought this place sold paper to like Dunder Mifflin, but apparently there's tubes or pipes everywhere.
Dunder Mifflin.
So it doesn't matter. I just thought that was random. And we finally have OG Nicta. So Arlen's back and looking fly as fuck. And
Arlen.
God.
I miss Arlen.
I missed you a lot. And it's nice to see you as Nicta because you're always crushing it. And I'm glad that you got to interact with Tally because it's always fun. So there's like, in this whole scene, it's just like they're sparring and then having conversations. And so the first conversation is basically they go back about the face magic and they start kind of talking about that. And Nicta or Tally comments, "Oh, nice to see your face, Arlen," because it is. And Nicta reveals, she's like, "Well, this isn't my real face, like in present time." She's like, "This is what I looked like when, in the dream with Alder that you saw. So I thought I thought I'd come in this face so you'd recognize me," is basically this conversation. Which, first of all, how did you know that Tally saw that dream? Second of all, if Nicta knew, I love that she's like, "Well, I want this cute girl to recognize me, so I'm gonna look like what she would know so she knows it's me." So it's disaster flirting Nicta is what this is. And she's like, "Recognize me, Red." So I love that detail because it's a very Nicta thing to do. But put a pin in the face thing. Like, apparently this isn't what Nicta looks like right now, but this was Nicta when she was a soldier, I guess. Which also doesn't make sense because Nicta the soldier was 20 and wasn't graying, but I digress on that one. She wasn't in the dream with Alder. She wasn't.
Oh, you're right. I mean. She wasn't.
That's what I mean. So, like, it is... I don't think... I have theories about this, but it doesn't matter right now. Basically, I think that she did age and showed Tally what I would look like now, kind of, if I aged naturally. Yeah. But I think something happened to Nicta, and her actual face is a little bit more mangled, shall we say. But...
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair play. I get it. I get it.
But bottom line is, she's like, "I want this cute girl to know it's me. I'm going to wear my face." So I love that. But anyway, put a pin in that. And then that somehow transitions into like Alder talk, and Tally's like, well, Alder's gone now. Like, she was your nemesis. You know, do you feel better? Are you at peace now? And Nicta's like, peace? I don't even know what the fuck peace means. Because, like, she doesn't. Like, Nicta's entire life for like the past like 30 years has just been this like giant revenge mission that was like prompted by Alder betraying her. And she's like, and like Arlen kind of talked to us a little bit about this when we like interviewed her, and she's basically like, it's kind of like you're like in school and you're studying to like graduate, and like you finally pass all the tests and you graduate, and then you're like, well, now what? That was my whole goal. I don't know what to do with my life now. And that's basically where Nicta is. She's like, my whole goal is like make a stand with the spree, and like Alder's gone, and it's like I was going after Alder, and I don't know what to do with my life right now. So Nicta's kind of like spiraling and a little bit purposeless. So I feel like she's restless, and that's why she keeps going on the roof to just like be herself and like blow off some steam. And I feel like Tally was following her up on the roof, and that's how this all started originally. But anyway, Nicta's lost is the main thing, because also like Alder going away was never really the goal for Nicta. Like Alder was the catalyst that turned Nicta into who she is, like the spree leader and this justice warrior, whatever. But like it was never really about Alder. It was about like taking down the system. So Alder being gone would never really bring her peace. Like conscription's still a thing. Like if anything, things are worse now. So Nicta's very directionless, and I feel like she's gonna have to figure out a purpose for her life, and that's gonna be something we probably see with Nicta this season. And so that she can either like find a new purpose or like find peace in just like her reality, basically.
Poor Nicta.
I know. It's just it is very sad. Like as somebody who went through like grad schools and residencies and things like that, I totally get that analogy, because it's just like when it's over, you're like, I was like blinders on for so long, and now the blinders are off and I don't know what to do with myself. So like I kind of get where Nicta's coming from. And then to be thrown in this weird like situation with the unit, like, and she really doesn't have a lot of friends. Like she talks to, she just talks to Tally, but like, right. I don't know that she confides in somebody. So it's got to be very hard for her, you know, and isolating. So we'll see. But I feel like that's Nicta's journey, is to kind of figure out like a purpose, and then finding peace is probably her arc, I would imagine. So that's Nicta. And after she kind of goes off on her face, the Alder tangent, we kind of come back to the face changing magic, and Nicta calls Tally out for like being dumb about the face changing thing. And Tally's like, listen, I would do it. Like, I agree. I think it's very stupid not to do this. It's nuts. But like, so like indicating like Tally is totally on board for like the spree magic, but it's like the unit that's holding her back. And because Tally's like not Tally the individual, she's being very like unity. So she gets that it's wrong, but like she's like, my unit's telling me it's right, and I trust them with my life. So I'm in this like weird middle ground area where I see both sides, but I'm doing what my friends say, basically. And I think that this whole like face changing dilemma thing is kind of like foreshadowing a little bit what's going to go on with the unit, perhaps. I'm just going to call it now. And I think that like the unit is going to have to split up and go on individual journeys of like self-discovery and kind of learn how to make tough decisions as individuals, as like this personal growth journey. And I think that it's kind of starting here with Tally as like the first one, because by the end of this episode, she really learns the hard way, like the consequences of like not you making your own decisions kind of thing. And I think Nicta here is trying to like reason with her to be like, no, you have to make your own choices. Because honestly, like Nicta, the reason she made the spree is she was very mad that like choice was being taken away from witches. And so I think that like her seeing like the unit almost like making choices for Tally, I think she is trying to be like, hey, like, you know, you do need to don't let them take your choice away from you, like as a friend kind of thing. Because that's a value for Nicta, personally. And then, do you have anything to add? You're just dying.
I'm just dying, basically, both inside and out.
I feel you. Same.
Unfortunately, leaking from
everywhere.
Yeah.
We're a mess.
We are a mess.
We are a mess. But speaking of messes, after they talk about that, Tally tries her hand at disaster flirting and nails it, and asks Nicta, like, hey, would you have recruited me to the spree?
Oh my god, this question!
Yes, I love it. And then she immediately gets offended when Nicta says no.
Not even says no, she like laughs.
Like,
Girl, no.
That's so funny. Tally's
No.
she gets so offended. She like physically attacks Nicta. It's really funny.
I don't even think that. Oh God, Tally, you are way too much of a cinnamon roll to ever be recruited into the spree.
No, she is, and like Nicta kind of tells her, she's like, yeah, like you're super powerful and stuff. Not that you wouldn't have been useful, but like you don't even know your own power. You don't even know what you want. Like, what good were you in the spree? Like for Nicta, the spree was people who wanted to like do this and like knew what they were about and like wanted to act against the system. But like Tally is kind of like she's in the middle right now, like in a lot of different ways. And so like Nicta's like, you're no use to me in the spree if you don't know what you want, basically, is what she's saying in this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And Tally wouldn't have released the balloon. She would have just put it under her shirt and run away.
Yeah, like Tally in a moral quandary. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like, no.
No.
Nicta's like, no, bitch, the hell were you gonna do? So, but like, again, they, through this conversation, you can tell like they've been forming a bond with each other because like Nicta's not being mean to her. She's just being like, you're powerful and all this stuff, but like, you wouldn't have done it. Like, I know that about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they kind of get on the topic of like Tally's power and like, basically Nicta's like, you're not really tapping into it right. Like you could be insanely powerful, like, and kind of demonstrates like that Nicta has like some level of knowing ability and can use her own version of knowing to kind of predict what her opponent's going to do, like some ways out, at least a minute kind of out into the future. And that gives Nicta an advantage when fighting because she knows what they're going to do and then can like anticipate and act accordingly. And so she kind of gives Tally a glimpse of this while they're sparring. And by the end of it, Tally's like, oh my God, like teach me that. Because like, again, like Tally is like the person who was like reading law books before Nicta's trial. Like she's got a thirst for knowledge, we'll say, and like wants to know how to use her ability, and she wants to be useful and she wants to help people. So like here's somebody who kind of knows how to use her power and is showing her what she could do with it. And then she's like, yes, please train me. Like I want to know what I'm doing. I want to be useful. And so, and she's very frustrated that like in War College, they never taught us this. And Nicta's like, they weren't going to teach you this in War College, girl. Like, and she gives us a lovely smirk. And then I love this line. She says, they don't teach you the juicy, morally complicated stuff anyway. So kind of indicating that like the work she's doing is off canon. And I think the reason is because if you're predicting what your opponent's doing, it's a kind of a way of like robbing them of their autonomy if you know what they're going to do. So maybe the Hague was like, no, don't do this. But Nicta's like, nah, I'm gonna. And Tally's intrigued by it. And so Nicta agrees to train her. And then Nicta kind of instructs her. And she's like, listen, like, use your sight, look behind your eyes, look for the source of your sight. This inner gaze can be aimed forwards or backwards. So indicating that, like, Tally can use the work the way she was using it, which is like a minute to the future while you're fighting. Or you can, like, look into the past, which is probably what Tally was doing in the Alder Dreams, or, like, look into the future. So Tally's going to see a bunch of stuff this season is basically what this is saying. And then Tally kind of taps into it a little bit and they spar and she does a lot better because she can kind of see what Nicta's doing. But in the end, a bird poops on Tally, like Nicta called at the beginning of this. And she's like, I'm still better than you at this. So, like, indicating that, like, Tally's learning, but she's got a ways to go before she's, like, even as good as Nicta. But Tally's learning new magic, which is pretty exciting. And I think that's going to be a huge plot point for this season.
Okay. The bird that crapped on Tally's head is Morgan.
Is it?
Just
probably. He's got a poop, man.
Just my canon thought is that he
Morgan the bird.
You know, like, so Morgan and Scylla, they're like, but Also, Morgan has gotten to know Nicta a little bit. And so I feel like Morgan would do Nicta a solid and just,
Oh yeah.
or a liquid in this case, because
Yes.
thank goodness Tally had that hat on.
Yes, Tally, maybe she's traumatized by this, and that's why she wears so many hats throughout the season. She's like, listen, birds keep shitting on me. I'm just gonna constantly wear hats.
So, it's always
It's for my
Morgan.
protection.
If it's not bats flying at me, it's Morgan.
Yeah, it's like if Scylla's bringing the bird everywhere, Tally's just like, listen, it likes me for some reason.
It's because you're tall. I don't know. You got that red hair.
It's an easy target. But that was a fun scene. I love seeing Tally and Nicta, particularly Arlen, interacting. It's always a good time.
I did too. It was so fun, especially when you get that image of Arlen in general, but
yes,
the two of them actually having, a convo outside of everyone else.
No, totally. Like, again, it's showing that, like, these, like, Nicta is very solitary in general, but, like, is forming a friendship of some sort with Tally, which is really cool for Nicta, and then, they're both gaining something out of it, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, Tally needed some guidance, and I feel like Nicta has a good gauge on what Tally's actually ready for and what she's not.
Yeah, I think that's been pretty evident since they first started interacting last year. Like, I think they kind of get each other. Nicta definitely gets Tally on some level, so it's a good, like, friendship kind of situation they have for a lot of reasons. Because, like, I feel like Tally's very much struggling with this situation too, and, like, the rest of the unit's not helping. Like, Raylla has Scylla, and then, like, Abigail has a Dill, so Tally's kind of, like, isolated in a way, so it's good that they have each other, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. Because we know Quinn's not there.
No, Quinn fucked off immediately. Because, like, Tally thought she's going to be besties with Quinn. That's why she hugged her when she got off the van, and then Quinn's like, yeah, this is great. Get off me.
Deuces,
I'm leaving. Yeah, that truck Scylla brought was mine.
Yeah.
On the van. And then Quinn's like, no, I got to get my truck and go home. Let me off. Bye. Good luck. Yeah, to get off of me, Tally.
You two stop making out. You two
go keep Nicta company. Anyway, yeah, Quinn fucked off immediately. So
yeah,
you're right.
Exactly.
All that's left is Nicta.
The adult in charge. Alrighty then. So
right, exactly.
Next scene, we get a little bit of Tally and Abigail at first. So Tally's kind of talking about her training with Nicta and discussing the whole no face changing thing. Again.
Oh my god. I'm trying really, really hard. Fuck off,
and then Abigail goes into her, well, I'm still adjusting, bitch. And I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not. My note literally says, are you though?
Are you though?
You're not.
Tally's trying her best to convince Abigail that this is the direction they need to go and that she needs to stop being stubborn about this. But Tally's also not somebody that's going to push Abigail because she knows it does no good. All you do is if you push Abigail, all you do is make her mad. And that's not going to bring her around to your side at all.
Yeah, it's always like poking a bear with Abigail, always.
It is. Yeah. And though she's not going to get mad at Tally as fast as she would get mad at other people, it'll happen. So she knows that you can't push Abigail.
Right.
And Abigail's also super anxious at the moment because they're stuck in this place and she has no idea what's going on back home, Fort Salem, with her mom. She has no idea what's going on with her mom on Fort Salem with their case. She's like, can we get the fuck out of here now and go back to normal? And I'm like, no, girl, normal's gone. You left normal way back a long time ago when the witch plague hit Fort Salem. So
Right. Like, how do they not connect how insane their situation is and the fact that nothing can ever. Because, like, didn't they have. Wasn't it Tally at the end of the season who was just like, did we just change the world? Like,
Yeah!
everything changed! What they said last season, like, how. Yes, everything is fucking different. Like, the Camarilla is back. Like, your situation is insane. Like, come on, guys.
So everyone, including Tiffany, forgot what happened last season.
It was amnesia during the month hiatus. Like,
oh my god. Oh, anyway.
What's in the water in this Dodger plant?
In the water? I don't know,
anyway.
So yeah, Abigail wants to talk to her mother, and Raylla walks up with her plate of weird random food.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, they won't let me talk to my dad either, but Quinn updated him, like, do you want me to get Quinn to, like, yeah, like, whoa!
So Quinn's alive, but you may not hear back for a month because it's Quinn.
Yeah, it's Quinn. So you're not going to hear.
Let's send Morgan to Fort Salem. It's probably faster.
Yeah. Yes. So Anacostia and Scylla are still in contact, right? But,
which, yay, Quarterhorn.
Yeah, Quarterhorn. So I want to know if they're doing far speech. Like, why isn't everyone far speeching?
That was my question. That's literally I was like, communicating how? And why are we not all doing that? It's not like they have walkie-talkies. You know, that's like, it has to be these two. Like, is it spree work and we're not above doing the spree work? But, like, why would Anacostia be doing spree work? Yeah, like, last time they were communicating, it's like far speech or fetching or, like, other things like that. But, like, what is that even? Was Scylla using the mirrors to talk to Anacostia? So it's one-sided because it's Scylla doing the magic, maybe. And then Unit's like, we're not going to do that. It's dirty and the mirrors are gross. So, yeah, but Anacostia is near Petra. I don't understand why this was an issue for a month. There's many gaucheries in this episode, is all I'm saying. We just need to just get past them all. But we will comment on them first.
How the hell is she communicating with Anacostia? I mean, the last time it was phone calls. It was like,
it's Morgan.
Landline phone calls.
Right. But, like, landlines would have made sense, but, like, they're not allowed to leave the Dodger plant. So,
they're not
unless,
allowed
like,
to use the phone. So,
yeah, right.
It has to be far speech, how they're communicating, or the mirror, because we do see later on that Scylla's gonna let that out into the unit.
Yeah, and I think that Anacostia is probably more receptive to, like, the spree work, at least the ones that Scylla, because of her and the Quarterhorn moments, you know. So,
right, yeah.
But again, like, right.
Well, because Anacostia still has a brain cell.
Anacostia always has a, well, okay, yeah. Anacostia usually has a brain cell, let's say that, yeah.
She does now, in this situation.
When she's working with Scylla, she definitely has a brain cell. Yeah, exactly.
Good heavens.
Good lord. So, yeah, exactly.
Getting past all of that, we see a gang of Dodgers, the ones that arrived last night, the vampires.
Thank you! It's the cast of First Kill is here. Don't they look great?
First Kill. Yeah.
First Kill's
they just walked into the cafeteria like they own the damn place.
Right. The audacity. I love it.
The Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this bitch is
right,
the title of this scene.
We were originally, but come on in. They're like, great, we own this place now. Like, yeah, it's awesome. Ours. It's ours.
And the girl that's in the front of this little gang immediately recognizes Scylla and goes beelines straight for Scylla. And does she go in for the hug? No. Does she no. Oh, hey, no. She fucking tries to kiss Scylla.
Listen, there's something about Scylla where you just want to attack her with your face.
Yeah, you want to attack her face with your face.
With your face, right. It's not exclusive to Raylla. It's a Scylla thing. We unlock that mystery.
So Vera, she'll introduce herself as Vera. So she tries to attack Scylla's face with her face, but Scylla's like, whoa! Girlfriend, right here. She doesn't say that, but in her mind, she's like, nope.
Nope. I get it. I'm me, but no.
Yeah. No, I feel like Scylla was going to maybe go for the hug.
Oh, totally. She was leaning in like a hug, and Vera's like, your face is near my face.
Your face is near my face, so therefore I must attack your face with my face.
Can you blame Vera? That's all I'm saying. Like, no.
Do you?
So,
okay.
She didn't know about Raylla. She just, there's your face. Here's my face. You know what's going to happen. And so it's like, I get it. I know what's going to happen. No.
Doesn't matter what you put Amalia Holm in. She's going to be attractive enough to make you want to attack her face with your face.
Yeah. It's the curse she has to bear.
But especially the work shirt. I really like her in the work shirt. Like Scylla. I don't know. It's just got that a vibe to it that I enjoy.
So Vera cannot be blamed for her behavior in this situation, is all we're saying.
No. I'd also like to point out that Scylla went from Justine to Jade.
Yeah. I know, the names are funny. Yeah. She picked another J name.
Yeah.
I do love that.
What is up with that? So yeah, Scylla does some Matrix shit to dodge that kiss. But Vera's not done flirting because when Scylla introduces her, she said, yeah, Vera and I used to run together back in the day. And Vera's like, oh, is that what they call it?
Is that what the kids are calling it?
Is that what the kids are calling it these days? I thought we were just having a lot of hot sex.
We're attacking our faces together.
Yeah, this entire... Like, I kind of just want all of the footage of Taylor's face for this entire scene. Just like, that's all I want to watch is Taylor's face this whole time.
Also, unpopular opinion, maybe. I want the prequel of them running because that would be fun.
I want to know what happened, but I don't want to see it.
I like Vera. I want to see more Vera.
I want to punch Vera in the face.
No. Especially if Nicta's there, because apparently they know each other. Whatever that was.
With my face. So... Anyway. Vera turns to the unit and says, well, if it isn't the most wanted soldiers from dead Alder, soon to be defunct army, what an opening line!
I love how she immediately reads them the filth. Like, I love her. Like, she's speaking the truth the whole time. She's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is
like,
dumb.
Why are you still wearing these faces? And then Abigail obviously is like, okay, wait a minute.
Who the fuck is this?
Not only did you just have the audacity to try to kiss my sister's unit mate's GF, you're also going to get in our face about changing the face.
You're figuratively getting in our faces.
But Abigail's not so figuratively going to get in her face about this because she stands up to have this discussion with Vera, which I feel like was going to end with violence if Mac hadn't stepped in. And kind of like tries to calm her down and say, like, well, that's why they're staying inside so no one sees their faces. But then Nicta walks in her Candace McClure Nicta face.
Yeah, Candace face. Yeah.
Candace face comes in, and Vera and Nicta knew each other, so apparently it's a little reunion. So we've got Scylla, Nicta, and Vera all having that connection together. So that's an interesting crew.
I assume it's through the spree.
Yeah, I assume they were all spreeing around.
Yeah.
But so Nicta's like, it's been too long, girl, and what have you? They have that little conversation, and then Vera comes back and is like, so Scylla, can we talk in private, basically? And Raylla she just looks so bewildered. Like, what reaction am I supposed to have to this? Kind of like look on her face this whole time. While Abigail's the one over there with the like, I'm pissed off. And Tally's just kind of like deer in the head, what is going on? Like watching this all go down. So Vera leans over and takes a tomato off of Abigail's plate and then eats it. And then Scylla and Vera start to walk away, but not before Scylla winks at Raylla. I guess to be like, it's all right, you know, I know and you know that, yeah, there's nothing going on.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
nothing going to happen.
That was
Like,
a
I'm
wink
yours.
of reassurance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was an I'm yours wink. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
She's a vampire.
Exactly. We're
Not
done. I'm done with the Vera.
Yeah.
But I've been on that lesbian Jesus juice. I'm addicted.
I'm well hydrated. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. She's not thirsty for Vera. She's only thirsty for lesbian Jesus.
No, but Vera really wanted a fucking tomato. Of all the things to grab off the plate. It was so random.
No, I respect it because tomatoes are my fave too, girl. Like, get that tomato. But it also spawns one of my other favorite lines from the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, I fucking love you, girl, for ad-libbing this line. I love it. That bitch ate my tomato.
It's so good.
I'm so glad they kept that in.
Good.
It was so good.
That and I'm way to make a girl feel single.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, guys. Actually, the unit, all three of them got a good, just like one-liner. All three of them. Unity.
Man. So basically, what we're getting from this whole thing is everyone thinks they're crazy for not changing their faces. They're putting everyone in danger.
Yes.
And also, Scylla has an ex. That's a lady named Vera. Yay for the buys.
Might be a vampire. We don't know yet.
Might be a vampire. I kind of like that they had another Scylla's ex come into the picture because a lot of people are just, I hate humanity sometimes. Because within the community, there is biphobia, and we don't have any need for that up in this piece. So
no, we do not. Respect. What is it? Hi, not bi. Like, say hi to the bi. Just ignore. Just like let them be happy. It doesn't matter.
Yes. So yeah, I'm glad we got another piece of Scylla's past, even if it was trying to make out with her. Which actually was pretty funny.
I mean, is it not Scylla's fault she wore her real face?
Yeah, she wore a real face to the party, so of course it was going to get attacked.
It was going to get attacked. But I love the fact that this... So, like, we had Porter, who was, like, her Dodger life. And then you have Vera, who's, like, Spree life. So that's interesting. Yes. So that was more recent. So it gives us a timeline. And it kind of also shows that, like, Vera knew Nicta too, so like what really was that dynamic they all had together? Did Scylla know Nicta back in the day? Like, I don't know. A lot of questions. So very, very cool and very cool.
I got the impression that they did.
But like how much were they interacting and stuff? You know,
I don't think they were interacting much. I just think that they knew it, like Nicta knew of Scylla and Scylla knew Nicta as, you know, who she was, basically. Yeah,
totally. But I'm wondering, because, like, Vera knew Nicta's face, like, recognized her. Like, did they ever meet before? I'm just wondering, like, with Cantus's face, like, have they ever met? I don't know. Mm-hmm. More stuff about Scylla's past is always fun.
Questions to ask.
Questions to ask. And good on you, Vera, for speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So after that super fun scene, we, for some homophobic reason, cut over to Wasps at lunch. And it's VP Silver and some blonde woman, I assume is Tara or whatever from the episode descriptions. And they're like at some fancy place and he's rifling through documents and they're talking about drilling in the harming the environment way, and then in the gross heterosexual way that I didn't need to hear. Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, great, you guys are fucking too. Weren't you just at the reporter like 5 seconds ago? Why is he getting so much action? And why am I hearing about it? I don't need to know this, Eliot. This doesn't help me understand Motherland. It's Pride Month. I shouldn't have to hear this. Anyway, unfortunately, witches are also hearing this because Sterling and Mama Costia are using Sterling's fetch, I guess, to like listen to this disgusting conversation over lunch. But they're all cute, cozied on the couch, so like they're together, which is fun. Good on you, Mama Costia. And the blonde woman, I'm just gonna call her Kara, not Kara, Kara, until I'm corrected. But basically, she reveals that she's from inherited wealth. So this is a white woman who doesn't work, who has a bunch of money, who meddles in politics. So American commentary here. And she's financing VP Silver's drilling project. So this conversation is like the definition of white privilege. And so obviously this is Camarilla business because that's what the Camarilla is. And the project they're talking about involves giant drills and 6 of them. So 6 witches, 6 drills, interesting. And then fungicide. So they're going after the mycelium, basically. And they cheers, like, hope it works, fuck all the witches. And then, like, speaking of evil, Albin shows up at this wasp lunch. And Kara calls him Albie, so, like, they obviously know each other in a weird way.
I did not need to hear that.
I didn't need to hear this whole conversation. Like, this could have been an email. I didn't need to see this.
Nice to see that Men in Black like memory wiping thing.
Yeah, like instead of like the thing that shows you work, just like erase all of this. Nice to see you, Bob. Everybody else in the scene could fuck off.
Yeah, I love you, Bob. That's it.
That's it. End of sentence. So that's happening, and then we get Mama Costia and Sterling's perspective through the fetch, and it starts to like fade to black, like their work is being interfered with, and it's probably something Albin has going on that's interfering because he knows VP Silver has Sterling, and he's probably interfering so they can be sinister together at lunch. But before the fetch completely goes away, Anacostia and Sterling hear his name, Alvin Hurst. And so they're like, oh, they do quick math, and they're like, oh, he was at Fort Salem the night of the witch plague attack. Could he not have been the one that let the reporters in and forged Sterling's name? Probably. So he just became their person of interest for how the witch plague got loose on Fort Salem. And that's where that ends. And so, yeah. That's probably who did it.
It is.
Duh.
Joy!
So all those out there who's like, it's Isadora, the double agent, put some respect on her name. There's no way. It was this guy. God.
Anybody who ever says Isadora's double agent is gonna get like, disrespect to you. Disrespect to you.
Listen, the only way she's a double agent is if they give her a bigger lab and more money. That's it. If they don't give her that, she's not leaving Fort Salem. The mycelium's
and she
right
gets to marry the mycelium.
Right. Isadora
Listen, no.
It was Albin. Come on now.
Ugh. Okay.
Gross.
Back to this fun time with Scylla's ex.
Listen, I like Vera. She's fun.
I enjoyed the scenes with Vera. I'm just protective of Raylla.
That's fair.
So, and also she's a little too friendly for me. Like, don't hug me if you just met me 5 seconds ago, bitch. I don't know you.
What a weirdly affectionate spree agent. It is weird.
You. Like, this girl is a sunshine vampire. I don't know how those two things go together, but they do apparently.
She's Juliet. She has golden retriever energy, but also
she does.
Golden retriever energy.
Yeah, like she could murder and fetch your paper.
Yes, and then like snuggle.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, here we go. We done figured her out. All right.
Figured it out.
Vera and Scylla come back to the table, and I love that Tally's like, they're coming back. Tally!
Her stage
They have
whisper.
eyes!
I think Scylla is 3.
I love Tally so much.
Has not learned how to whisper properly still.
No.
I do love Tally. Not subtle.
So whatever talk she and Scylla just had, Vera starts off by apologizing for being a bitch. Because, you know, she came in hard and she didn't need to. But at the same time, she was telling the truth. But at the same time, you know, like, she doesn't know these people, and that's not the way you're gonna actually make anyone, like, take your advice.
Especially Abigail. So that's not the way to talk to Abigail. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, but she says, this is the last thing I'll say about it, but the face burning thing is not hard to learn.
Thank you.
That and Abigail's just like, girl, peace, bye, and takes off. And they're like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going to find a deal. I'm like, okay. She needs to go have some. She needs to get all of her energy out.
Please do it off screen.
Great, yes, go on, girl.
Go.
Good for you. Go.
Good for
you. So Scylla and Vera sit down. One of them in Abigail's vacated spot, which would be Vera. And Scylla informs everyone, I think, to kind of like just calm the whole situation down, that Vera and her people are leaving because of the fugitives. Yeah, she's like, all right, you famous people from TV are here, and Nick DePatan's here, so we're gonna hit the road. We wish you well.
There's too much crazy here. We gotta go.
Yeah. This is too crazy for the vampires.
This is danger. We're gonna leave. I love it.
It's too hot here.
Yeah. Nick and Scylla in the same spot. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah. But what I love is when she wishes them well, Rael's got this beautifully sarcastic comment about it being, she's like, oh, it'll be tough to see you go.
It's very Rael.
But Vera does not pick up on the sarcasm one bit and thinks it's sincere. And she's like, oh, you're sweet. I wish you had more time to get to know, like, hang out. And she hugs Rael. And it's the most awkward thing ever.
For Rael. Vera has no idea. She's puppy dog. She's like, yay! And Rael's like,
potentially a new friend, but I don't get to talk to you because you're a wanted fugitive. Yay!
Yay!
And then Scylla's over there amused, like,
yes.
Yeah, I had to deal with this for a long time. So,
yeah.
But this is also the scene that Amalia referenced in the Raylla panel from QFX, where she was trying to get Taylor to remember a scene where Taylor's face made her laugh really hard. And it was this scene, but Taylor couldn't remember it. And she nearly, like, spoiled the whole thing trying to get Taylor to remember. But now we know why Amalia couldn't stop laughing, and it was because of Taylor's face during that awkward hug.
So well played, ma'am.
Well played. Good job.
Love it.
It's the most awkward scene of Motherland.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward and very well played. I love it.
Also, an award to Tally for not being sly when stealing Rael's.
I was going to ask if this was the scene. It was so fucking funny the way. Okay, Vera gets called out for stealing a tomato, but then Tally, who can't stage whisper, is like stealing shit off of Rael's plate, and no one notices, and it's awesome. I love it. She's just like, I want that's mine now. Thank you.
No, I just think that they don't care. They're so used to Tally taking things off of their plate that it's normal.
I love it.
I love it too. I also think that Tally doesn't take things off of Abigail's plate as much as she does Rael's, because Rael's not gonna get mad about it. Raylla
Yes.
barely eats, let's be real.
Right. Raylla, half of that food she knows it's for Tally, so
Yeah. That's why
Abigail
she
would
gets
never.
as much as she does.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not for her. She's like, Hallie's gonna steal 30% of this, so she likes celery. I'm just gonna get her the things that she likes.
Exactly.
I will say one last thing I want to say about this scene at the beginning when like Vera is like apologizing in her way for like coming on so strong. She says her full name, which is
Virago.
Virago, and she's like, it's like my mom knew. And the name means domineering, bad-tempered woman. I love her mother. This name is badass. So I love it. Virago.
She
Love
knew.
it. Great name.
Good deal.
But she's also a puppy dog, so that's fun.
Accurate.
Yes. Then we find out after that where the fuck Abigail went and why she had to grab a deal. Apparently, they had to escape the Dodger compound in the dead of night and break every rule so that she can find a payphone and call her mother because she needs to know what's going on right now and she needs her mom to like order her around and tell her what to do. Because like Abigail's whole life is like being in the army and being told what to do, and now that's not how Dodger life works, and she's freaking the fuck out. And she's like, I need to get out of here. So that's what they do. And the two of them must be like blind because they go into a payphone outside that's literally in front of a giant Not Our Daughters flag with protesters and signs. No one sees that when they're approaching for some reason. But while Abigail's calling Mama Bellwether, Adele's like, oh, that's what's going on over there. And so he notices this, and then there's this creepy ass bald guy with questionable facial hair who's got this flashlight device that like lets you, that basically instead of like flashing a light, it flashes some camera work that like looks through witches' work. So he's like trying to detect witches and face changing or whatever. He's like scanning faces. And Adil's makes eyes with this man and is like, oh fuck, we need to get the hell out of here because this is danger. And he like pulls Abigail out of the booth and they go in an alley. Adil uses his like Tarim cloaking magic and they become invisible. And like the creepy dude kind of looks for them but doesn't see them. I don't think he was pointing it in the right direction. And then he leaves. And so that was that whole scene. So great job, Abigail. You're trying to adjust real well, is all I'm saying, by breaking every single rule these poor Dodgers have like made for you guys. God damn it. Privilege.
Yeah. I'm so mad at her for this, and I know
Me
that
too.
that flashlight looking device being letting off some kind of frequency that uncovers work is just a new level of not cool.
It's
things
very
to come.
like Albany.
Yeah,
You
Albany and the jeez, I'm mad about
Me
that
too.
whole situation.
Me too.
All right. Back to the fun.
Speaking of Mama Bellwether.
Speaking of Mama Bellwether, she and Anacostia are having a little catch up on all of the intelligence. And they start talking about Silver and his drilling equipment. I don't want to talk about the other aspect of that.
Thank you.
The industrial fungicide that they've invested in, and his mysterious benefactress, aka Kara, aka don't want to know about it.
Yep.
And they determine this must be about the mycelium, and I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
Why else would you need that many gallons of industrial fungicide?
And a drill.
Thank you. Okay, so surveillance has been hindered by a new kind of dampener, but Anacostia says she's going to figure out a way around it, and Petra wants to know where Wade is on the whole genealogical initiative.
Yeah, where's Wade?
Yeah, where's Wade?
Where's
So
Wade?
she's not blocking it, but Anacostia needs to get close. Like Petra's like, well, you need to get closer to Wade. I'm like, okay. Like she's just what's she gonna do? Fly in the window and be like, hey Wade, what you up to? Like, what's going on, girl?
Hey Wade, I just witch out of my damn window. They can fly.
Oh my goodness.
But like, but just to like comment on Wade being like, I'm not gonna fight this genealogy thing, even if it's sinister. But let's like, can you blame Wade? Like, they actually gave like Alder gave her 1,000 reasons to actually hate them. Like the Camry is doing it because of prejudice, but like Alder like puppeted her and did all this horrible shit. So like, can you really blame Wade for being like, fuck you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wade has every reason to not trust witches.
Yeah, so they're like, is she in with the Camarilla? And I'm like, I think Wade just fucking hates you guys. Like, you gave her legitimate reasons, you know?
Seriously.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
they speak about Abigail's call, and Anacostia asks how she sounded, to which Petra replies that she sounded exhausted and scared. And we find out that there are civilian authorities looking for them and also military police. But the military police have orders to contact Petra if they should find Abigail, period. But they haven't found anything. So that's good. Like, that means they're well hidden and all of that good stuff.
For now.
And then we have a little break in the intelligence briefing for Anacostia to stand up and look at that portrait of Alder.
Yes, literally. That's what it's for.
That's still in the office.
Okay, can we talk about the decor in the office? Because there's multiple Alder things still hanging in this office, and I do love that. It's like the one like the hot Alder one where she's got the coat on and the hand on the coat, and then like behind Petra's one of those like war memorials like that Alder's in. So I love that she left that, but like on the desk is like pictures of Abigail and stuff. So like, it's cute. I wouldn't expect Petra to do that. I thought she was gonna burn everything that had Sarah Alder on it. So it's nice she like left it up there, you know.
I think she, underneath everything, she still understood that what Alder did and the sacrifices that she made, and
totally
they wouldn't have this place if it wasn't for Alder. Like, they probably wouldn't exist. But
yeah, for sure.
Anacostia is getting misty-eyed over it, obviously, because it's like her mother figure. It's the only mother she had after her parents died in that terrible car accident. So
yeah,
she's gazing at Alder's portrait, and Petra says that she misses Alder too. And she's like, you probably don't expect that, but you know, like, it was time for her to move on, but not like it happened. She's like, I wanted her to retire. I didn't want her to like pretty much die and go into the mycelium and turn into Groot.
Yeah, it's basically like Alder didn't get to retire on her terms.
Yeah.
You know? And I think Petra like gets that. Like, as a great leader that Alder was, it definitely was time, but like she should have been able to go on her terms and with dignity. And it's almost like for Petra, it's like, that could happen to me, you know, the way like the government interfered and can force me to retire. So it's kind of like a reality check too, a little bit.
Absolutely. Like, she has to remember what happened to Alder as a lesson.
Like a history lesson, exactly.
Well, and then they move on to, you know, what else Anacostia has, which is Alvin Hurst. Petra immediately kind of brightens up because she's like, I met him.
That guy.
That guy. He said something ominous about Abigail and a dill.
I love how she put those two together. It's just Abigail and a dill immediately.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know about
all right,
that,
fam.
Maybe.
Sure.
Okay.
And then back to the paper place, where Raylla is sitting in an office like worried parents whose children have snuck out after curfew, which is what happened. Yeah. Because let's be honest,
literally,
Raylla and Scylla are the mom and dad, or the mom and mom, and everyone else is like They're the only ones that have not broken the rules of the
Girl,
Dodgers.
they were just fucking in like the copy room. They have broken rules.
That's
but
not
like,
the rule. The rule is don't go outside.
yes. Abigail is being the rebellious child right now who's like, I'm trying to be good by being terrible. Okay, whatever.
Anyway, Raylla having crazy sex all over the paper distribution center does not put the Dodgers in danger. Maybe their eyes, but
it scars them in a different way.
or it could be like a happy thing for them. I don't know. We won't speculate.
We will
However,
not.
I don't know how we keep getting off on that tangent, but here we are. So they're worried. I think Raylla is the most worried, and Scylla's there to comfort her. But
yeah, for sure.
Just sitting in the office, and then Abigail and Adil roll in, and the most memeable shot of Raylla and Scylla. Raylla's hands in the air, like, what the fuck? And Scylla's face, like, where have you been?
Yeah.
I love it. I have, that screenshot is my favorite, and I will save it forever. So, Abigail, Raylla goes off on her as soon as she walks in, but Abigail totally ignores that, and she's like, listen, I tried to find out what's going on at base and back in DC, and they had to cut it short because we ran into a Not Our Daughters protest, and the cops are checking people with a weird flashlight. They're checking for work. And everyone realizes what this means, that there's a way for them to just, make are you a witch or not thing with this flashlight. And then Raylla and Scylla are even more worried than they were before.
Yeah, and Abigail's ending sentiment is like, they're getting closer. And it's like, even all the more reason to like change your fucking faces.
Yeah.
And like, that aside, bigger question is, if they're getting closer, shouldn't the unit and Nicta be planning to get the fuck out of there?
Exactly.
Like, again, not only to just like save themselves from the cops, but like, they're endangering everybody. Like, like.
The Dodgers are solid.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, while the Dodgers are fugitives, also, nobody's, like, specifically looking for them.
Yeah.
It's just, like, is this not the cue to, like, maybe we should get the fuck out of here? Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. No self-preservation.
The only other thing I want to comment on is the way Raylla and Scylla are in every scene, even if it's a little, like, tiny scene where they don't have a lot of, like, they don't have vocal interaction, you always see them touching in some way if they're close to one another. And it's so sweet and it's so real. Like,
yeah,
they physically check in with one another like all the time, and that's like such a nice thing to see on screen, because a lot of times in the past the representation has not been that good as far as it being just normalized.
Totally. So. And they're pretty consistent about that, but definitely have like upped it in this season, at least this episode, because they're more on the same page right now. So like they're showing that with their physical interactions as well. So good touch.
So yeah. I like it.
Yeah, we like to see it. Speaking of things we like to see, well, mostly me, we're back to Nicta and Tally on the roof. And they're talking about the face changing magic, but they're doing this in like the gayest way possible with Nicta disaster flirting. And so she asks Tally, so are you ready to let go of all that cuteness for a while? And it was really smooth, actually. It wasn't super disastery. So like, it's evidence to me that they've been flirting this whole month, and Nicta's getting better at it. And Tally doesn't even like flinch at the flirting. She's just like, yeah, okay. Indicating Tally's used to this by now. And all she says is like, hey, listen, Abigail and Raylla won't budge on this. So unity, here we are. And this is kind of the conversation where Nicta points out the obvious that like, hey, you're your own person. And they have this kind of conversation like, you should be making your own choices. But Tally is still in Unity land, even though Nicta kind of disagrees, like, bad choice, girl. And then at this point, we get say goodbye to Arlen and switch over to Cantus. And then Cantus spars Jess in this scene. And it goes pretty well. And in this sparring session, Tally is able to tap a little bit better into the knower magic and anticipate what Nicta's going to do. So Tally's been practicing and is getting better, but like Nicta is still better at harnessing this magic, and so she one-ups Tally multiple times during this fight where she like gets her in a chokehold and like kind of provokes her a little bit. And so to kind of combat this, Tally digs deeper into the site and kind of sees a little too far into the future. Like we see her like anticipating Nicta's moves, but then like it starts going beyond that. And we get flashes of like Nicta throughout different time periods. And the last one is Nicta looking more aged, and her face almost looks like she survived like an acid burn, and parts of her jaw are completely gone, and you just see like parts of the mandible and like tendons, but like it's almost like she got an acid attack and like parts of her face are permanently burned. So like something happened to Nicta that we don't know about in the past. And the voiceover from Nicta, and it's Arlen in this situation, she says it like, I think she said like, is this what you wanted? Like almost like Tally was like, oh, I wanted to see what you look like, and it's like, here, are you happy now? Now you can see it. So I don't know if like Nicta knew she was seeing this, or it's like a point in the future, a point in the past that she saw. But I think that's Nicta's true face, like Nicta in the present, what she really looks like. Because the Arlen face is Nicta's actual face. That was her face in the army, but like the nice clean version I think is a mirage, and like something happened to Nicta pretty bad that like mangled her face. So I need to point. Any thoughts about that?
No, I agree completely with what with everything. We just saw Nicta's actual real time now face.
Yeah.
In that vision, and it really reveals I think it reveals something about Nicta's character, in that she felt the need to
Hide
it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so
I mean, if she's gonna disaster flirt with Tally, she wants to look her best.
Number one, yes. But she also like, besides disaster flirting, like if you think about it, she also hid her face to like her minions when she was in the cabin torturing Jonas. She didn't have the mangled
she
face.
did.
So like, so I want it shows us that about Nicta, but also it prompts questions of like, well, what happened to Nicta, and like, is she ashamed of what happened? Like, why is she actively like, what happened to her, and like, why does she feel the need to do that? So it does open questions about Nicta, which is interesting.
And I really hope we get to get into that.
Yes, please, 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 please. I want to know. If not, we'll ask Arlen. We'll ask Arlen.
Arlen!
Yes. Other thing I have to note during this like sequence where Tally's looking into the future, while she's another disaster flirt moment, while she's looking at like images of Nicta has another voiceover where she's like trying to coax Tally into like using her powers more, and she says, quote, I need you to see the end of the fight at the bar while we're having a good time. Like, girl, like implying like, hey, if we're at the bar having a real good time and there's a fight happening, I need you to know what's going to happen with that fight so it doesn't ruin our good time.
Yeah, exactly.
What was she asking Tally out? Like, what was that?
Did you just ask Tally out for a bar fight?
Right. Have they gone out to bars together already?
Yeah. Did you take her to the bar, Nicta?
Yeah, it's almost had this air of like, if I asked you out and we went to a bar, I know you'd say yes, and you need to use your powers if something happened.
That would be Nicta's idea of a date.
Get on me, Nicta. That was pretty smooth. She's getting better. Unfortunately, this whole interaction, when she sees Nicta's real face, Tally startles herself. I think she startles out of the work because she obviously at this point doesn't know how to tap into it properly and can't control it. So it just like that kind of happened. And then she was like, wow, okay. And like physically startles back and backs up towards the ledge of the roof and almost falls off. But like Nicta is using her sight and kind of like saw it happening and like catches Tally before she can fall. And then the most random thing in the world happened. There's some dude walking home from work. He's dressed nice, like, and has a briefcase. I assume that's what's happening. Sees Tally almost fall off the roof, which they weren't making noise, so that was weird. Stares at it and is like, huh. And then I guess calls the cops because of plot reasons.
This
I don't
just rando dude
I
walking.
know. Why was a businessman walking close to that? Because, like, when we got the shot of the building, it was like behind a chain link fence, and then there was the red buildings from a distance. And this guy was pretty close to the ledge walking and sees
The supposedly gated 24-hour guarded
Yes!
place.
Right. Why was he close enough to it? Like, only Dodgers can get close to this building. And first of all, people in the Midwest, I need to know, do businessmen normally walk home from work? I thought they used cars in that part of the world. I didn't realize it was a walkable town. Why was he walking? Why was he walking home from work? This was weird. Grocery number like 500,000 in this episode. But that was weird.
Well, like, why are we revealing all? Why are we sloppy right now?
Right. I feel like they had to like be like there was a month gap and then we had to like cobble together things to set the plot going. And maybe it went through a bunch of rewrites and then we're like, it is what it is, guys. We just got to get going. But that happens, sure. And last thing I want to say about this scene in general is that there's a lot of red in this scene. So color theory time,
Right,
like the building's red. Tally's outfit's kind of like a reddish color. Tally's eyes are red when she's doing the work. And then there's shading in the visions when she's having them of like red hues and stuff. And so red as a color, like, can mean many different things. I think in this situation, it's a more of a descriptor kind of color, and it means like dominance or strength in a situation. And so I think that it's like a symbol of Tally stepping into her strength by tapping into her work and like going on that journey. So like this work is going to be a source of strength for Tally, and she's like kind of learning how to like harness her own power. I think that's what it's kind of symbolizing and why it's showing up a lot with Tally right now, that color.
Absolutely. I love this red theme. I don't know. It's just a good one for this season.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see it a lot in the Camarilla context too, because that's like their color. But I think for Tally, it means something else.
Absolutely, I think it's not the same shade of red anyway.
No. There's multiple shades in this scene, but I agree. The Camarilla one's more like a deep crimson, a darker kind of red, which they're darker, so kind of makes sense.
Yes.
Alrighty,
so we get to see Kalita. Huzzah! Kalita is actually teaching a class of Dodger kids mother tongue, which is really cool.
It is really cool.
And so she teaches them to say mother tongue and mother tongue.
Right. I love that the lesson is like, let's learn to say mother tongue
in mother
tongue. I love it. And, yes, Manisha. So that's how you say it. We all learned something today.
And then she starts on her lecture, which, I mean, I would sit in a Kalita lecture any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, the story of our language is as old as people. Long ago, 6 sisters embarked on a mission to bring language to man. This common tongue is the root of all languages. That's pretty much all we get. Just Kalita having her little lesson for all the Dodger kids.
But I love that she's conveniently describing the opening scene of this episode.
Yeah, so we get a little exposition-ish action here with talking about the 6 sisters.
But also, like, I wonder if all witches know this history lesson, or if, like, this is indicating that the Tarim as a culture, like, passed down the oral history of, like, from the beginning of, like, witches. Like, is it a Tarim thing, or, like, all witches know this?
I think it's a Tarim. I think it's known, but that the Tarim actually teach it.
I agree. And I think the keeper of the knowledge is like Khalida or whatever her role is in the Tareem. So
Yep.
yeah.
So we get that little delightful scene that connects us back to the opening scene, and then we switch to Anacastia's office, where we get our first look at M, who's looking very fine,
But also
if I
very
may say so.
sad.
But also very sad. Sad fine. They're very distraught. And they sit down to have the talk, TM, with Anacostia and let her know that since half of Sekhmet has been killed in the attack and half of Sekhmet is on the run from justice, M is feeling a little directionless.
But also M.
But
What
also
happened?
M.
Where's Gregorio?
Yeah.
Where's
where he be?
Where's Gregorio? Like, did he didn't die, did he? He didn't die, did he?
No.
Yes. M says
He
most are
alive.
on the run. So like what happened to Gregorio is my question.
I want to know too.
Are they a coven of two?
Or Gregorio is reassigned. I don't know. And they haven't done anything with him yet.
Yeah.
But M gets really emotional about this and has a bit of a cry in Anacastia's office, who kind of just is looking over M's file and is like, okay, well, hi, you're really, really good at being a soldier and an infiltrator. You're like the only spy we have.
Basically.
So I have a job for you.
I need a fucking spy in this series.
I need
Please
a spy. Be our spy.
I've been working with Scylla, and it's not great.
Yeah. So I've been working with a spy.
A spy from the spree, and it's been interesting.
Not great. And so
She's fired.
Since you have top marks in infiltration, I'm going to recruit you. So yes, M will now have a purpose again, thankfully.
Yay.
And I hope we get to see more of them being really cool in the future. We do get another M scene in this, but
we do.
I really love him.
Yeah, I'm glad they'll be working with Anacostia and hopefully with the unit and all of that by extension eventually.
Absolutely.
I have a question about this scene though. So when it opens, it's like Anacostia in this giant room sitting at a desk. Is this her office?
Yeah, it's her office.
She finally got an office?
Yeah, Anacostia, she's got her intelligence office, because she's intelligent.
So question, does she have one of those amazing Fort Salem office assistants?
Yeah, she has to.
Fuck yeah. Good for Anacostia.
Obviously. But she doesn't her assistant is kind of like, whew, I'm so glad I'm not Petra's assistant. Because
Could you imagine being Petra's assistant? Good Lord. No. I mean, Mama Castia's also can be super intimidating, but
I feel like Mama Castia does a lot of her own things,
right?
But Petra would be on the level of expecting more personal type attention from her assistant,
like dusting the alder photos and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cool. But good on you, Mama Castia. I like to see your promotion, and that's a big ass office. So good for you.
I am thrilled that Mama Castia has gotten her place in the world deserved.
Yeah. And it seems like from all these conversations she's having that she's doing really well in the intelligence role. So
yeah, I mean, she's killing it.
She is. Actually killing it. So
now that she doesn't have to hit guys in the head with pipes because Scylla just went in lighter first.
Well, listen, she's getting a better spy assistant with M.
Yeah, she is.
This is going to be great. She deserves it. They both do. All right. So unfortunately, we leave that really awesome scene and go to the weirdest scene in the series, in my opinion, back at the distribution center where Dwight and Shelby are role playing weirdly at work.
What is this?
Listen, okay. Abigail and Adil randomly and awkwardly decided to role play while working at the distribution center. Why are we here? They've never done this before. And it's like stiff and super awkward. Was that the point? Or is it this them? Are they like, listen, we need to try something new in this relationship? I don't understand the scene. It's just weird. It's weird. And it keeps getting weirder the more they like try to awkwardly role play with each other. Like, it's like they're doing it, but nobody's really into it. So I don't understand this. It's just weird. And then it ends spectacularly with Adil as Dwight saying, like, we need to start a family. And it's like, what? And Abigail's like, wait, is this real or is this the role play? And Adil's like, both, I guess. And it's like, you guys are like 19 or 18. Why are we suddenly, this is fast U-hauling is what this is. Like, and the thing is, the way they're U-hauling into kids so quickly is like lesbian activity. So this is kind of a queer scene in a way. So I can't be super mad at it, but it's just weird. And then when Adil's like, what do you think about this, Abigail? Abigail's like, what? She doesn't even answer because the alarm goes off, but it's like, how did you guys get here? It's like you're not even comfortable with like fake role playing with each other, but now you're talking about kids. It's just what a leap is all I'm saying. I don't know how you feel about the scene, but I am just like, how and why are we here? Have they said I love you to each other? Like, how did they get here? It's like lesbian behavior. It's very fast and like U-Holly.
My first thought during this weird ass role play was, did Tally actually take Nicta's advice and like take like Adil's face or something, and she's now like trying to try out her super undercover work by awkwardly roleplay flirting with Abigail? I was like, is that Tally doing? I don't know what is going on. That was violent because I thought surely Adil's better at this than I was like, this is so bad.
Your version makes way more sense than Adil doing it. Honestly, she's like, I need to practice disguising. Nicta taught me the spray face. Either it's like, let me mess with Abigail, or like, let me practice flirting with Nicta and through Abigail, and like then that and like Tally's like in too deep, and she's like, kids.
Yeah.
Say.
Well, I mean, Tally's like, what do you say when you're a guy and you want to you're talking to your girl?
Yes. Oh my god, the conversation does read like it's like a woman who's not a man being like, flirt with women, and like somebody who has no frame of reference for flirting because Garrett was a thing, and so. Yeah, this reads as Tally trying to be a dude flirting with a woman.
Thank you. Yeah, I seriously, I think I actually was like, about to tweet. It's Tally, isn't it?
That makes so much more sense. That is what happened until proven otherwise, because
I understand. But yeah, when he got to the part about kids, I was like, oh yeah, it's got to be. Oh, it's not Tally? Okay, fine. Adil needs to take some lessons from Raylla and Scylla.
Listen, they all need to sit down and get Lesbian Jesus lessons, all of them.
Oh my god. This is bad.
All of them. It was
Nicta,
really bad.
Tally, Adil, Abigail, all of you need to go. Like, forget Kalita's mother tongue class. Y'all need to go to Lesbian Jesus smooth talk class with assistant Scylla.
Yeah, and it's like, this is how you attack your love interest's face with your face when you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Don't talk about
kids. Are you about to have an awkward, can we start a family conversation? Don't. Just attack their face with your face.
Right. That would have been so much better. Anyway.
This is your PSA. Have sex on the copier. Don't talk about starting a family in the middle of a war.
No, if you're in danger and need to change your faces, try to get your love interest to do it by calling them cute. being like, hey, if we were at a bar together, I'm gonna need you to like break up fights to save me. Things like that. Like, don't talk about kids. That's not where you go with this.
I don't get it.
I don't get the scene. It's very weird. I'm with you. I think that was Tally cosplaying Adil and trying to like pull a prank or practice flirting. And it just, obviously, Tally doesn't know what she's doing. She needs to work out her sexuality, number one, and then how to flirt with people and how to flirt and be flirted with. Like, Tally needs to learn those things. So this was Tally doing that, and it went really badly. And then thank God the witch alarm goes off, because I don't want to see the end of that. That was just really bad.
Do not need to see the awkward het sex.
No, so let's get away from that and cut to where babies are involved. Let's cut to the front desk of the distribution center, where there's now a bunch of police in riot gear, because it's America, and the creepy bald dude is back, and he's got his flashlight, and he's like, I got a tip that there's somebody on the roof. So apparently that translates into them needing to inspect the warehouse and go to the roof. I don't understand this, because like if you call the cops because somebody's on the roof, like my first thought is like a suicide attempt. So wouldn't you be in a hurry to get on the fucking roof and have like social workers and like
right?
Like what did they think was going on the roof? Like there's a person on the roof, but it's a private business. Wouldn't you like inform the business owner? Like the leap of like that tip to like cops need to go to look at the roof was a very weird stretch. If anybody listens who's in law enforcement, is this how this works? Because for me, I'm thinking like
law enforcement fee. Let us know.
Yeah. Also, yeah, exactly. Like exactly. EP, thank you in the chat. Why would they still be on the roof? That was my other question. Like, if it's a suicide attempt, like you'd want to get there as soon as possible to stop the suicide attempt. If there's creepy people on the roof, why the fuck would they still be on the roof? It's like 3 hours later. I don't like this whole thing makes no sense. But for some reason, people are on the roof on this private business, which means cops need to come see what's happening. We're not like checking surveillance footage. No, we need to go see the roof. Whatever. So, Abigail and Adil, for some reason, go to the front desk because they know where it is, I guess. See the creepy bald dude and was like, oh yeah, I recognize that guy. He's the flashlight man. Fuck. So that happens. And then a super helpful supervisor comes up and is like, hey, I can show you the roof. Do you guys want some coffee? Isn't my blazer nice? Like, let's go. And obviously it's Scylla, because who the fuck else wears blazers? but anyway, or that face. It's one of her faces. So she goes and takes them on a tour to the roof. And at some point on the way from the reception desk to the roof, the creepy bald dude fucks off because he's above the law and can do what he wants, because welcome to America. And he points the flashlight at a random wall and strikes gold because it happens to be the wall of like that corridor with all the beds where the kids sleep. And he's like, cool, we found fugitives. This is work. This must be Dodgers or some shady witch shit. Great. I'm going to call this into my Camarilla bosses. Conveniently, Abigail, Tally, and Adil see this, and then they fuck off like, oh shit, we're all fucked. And at the end of the tour... Cover's blown. They get to the roof. Surprisingly, nobody's there because it's been 3 hours. Who the fuck would still be on this roof? This was so dumb. And then Scylla, as cosplaying the supervisor, is like, see, there's no one. Get the fuck out now. And like leads them out, offers them coffee 16,000 more times. And they're like, no, we have to go do cop stuff now. And by that, we have to like go terrorize somebody else. So they go leave. And as they're leaving, when they're 3 steps away, the woman lights her face on fire. And at that point, if you didn't realize it was Scylla, who else would do that? They haven't left the room yet, and she's already changing back to Scylla because it's Scylla. So she has not gotten better at being a spy since we've last seen her.
How many shots did we need back and forth to see the cops were not even halfway out of the building?
They didn't leave, like, they haven't rounded the corner away from Scylla. They were still in her line of sight when she did that. Like, they could have been like, hey, I want that oh, fuck, witches. Like, Scylla, did we not learn from remember when she was Ellen Graves and, like, she offers Raylla the coffee and then Raylla's like, I don't want it, and she walks away? And then as she's 5 steps away, she changes her face. Like, again, the scenario of, like, hey, I want that coffee, and turns around and sees the face on fire has never once registered to Scylla as a possibility ever.
Also, why is Scylla always trying to shove coffee down everybody's throat?
I'm saying. And then she's like, coffee, bye, face. It's very Scylla. So she hasn't changed one bit when it comes to this stuff.
I love you so much, but stop.
I know, it's really bad.
It's bad.
Someone take the lighter away from her.
This is worse than Helen Graves. They were literally right there. And it's not like it was just one. Rael's one person.
Right.
That would have been bad enough. But this is a giant line of cops.
Right.
And any one of them could have turned around, number one. And number two, you're in a much more dangerous position.
Right.
Trying to keep all of your Dodger friends safe. And you're going to light your damn face on fire when they're 2 feet from you.
Yes, thank you. The stakes are much higher if it goes wrong here. This is why teenagers should not be in charge of saving the world, because they don't have experience. And like Scylla has never learned and has been in this exact scenario multiple times. So anyway, we're all fucked is what I'm saying. If we ever ended up in a scenario where like teenagers versus us and like death, we're fucked because many things can go wrong. But anyway, like you said, they're all fucked. And basically the head Dodger is like, why are there fucking cops here? You've been here for a month and now there's cops. There's cops. Why the fuck are there cops? And Abigail's like, I know there's cops and it's totally our fault. But it gets worse because the dude that was here has a flashlight. It can see work and he's basically seen everything. Like, they know you're here. We're fucked. And the head Dodger, rightfully so, like turns on Scylla and he's like, listen, we took a giant risk by hiding you and your friends. And this is how you repay us. So like now we have to leave because we've been burned. And you guys now are officially on your own. Like, you cannot come with us. We are not helping you. We're done. This is over. And Scylla very appropriately reacts to this because, again, she stuck her neck out for the unit and Nicta. And, like, the unit was reckless and did a bunch of shit they weren't supposed to. Abigail left base. Tally was on the roof. Like... And Tally, like, is guilty about it. She's like, I was the one on the roof. They saw me. I was the tip. And Scylla directs all of her anger at Tally and is like, that was fucking stupid. Like, and I think she's just very frustrated with the unit in general because, again, they're not playing by the rules and, like, being good Dodgers. They're just being them. And she just takes it out on Tally. Even though really it's not Tally's fault per se. Like, a lot of things led to this. But, like, I think Scylla's just frustrated because, again, she's getting burned with a trusted contract. And, like, really the unit as a group did this because unit unity, it's not just Tally. And
Nicta.
Listen,
Nicta should have seen that guy was going to see all of that. Tipping off the roof thing.
Okay, yeah. That's, okay, this is where I'm confused about the magic they're doing. I agree. Like, Tally wasn't on the roof by herself. But again, Tally asked Nicta to train her on the roof. So, like, there was multiple people involved with how we got here. But my question about the roof thing and, like, that guy seeing them is, like, is that a limitation of the work? Because the way they were using the work is they were kind of using it almost in this, like, one-on-one combat sparring situation. And so is the work itself incapable of seeing into the future and seeing that guy? Mm-hmm. Or is it because the guy didn't really directly interact with either of them in that scenario, and the work is like, I'm focused on Nicta, Nicta's focused on Tally. So if it didn't directly happen to them in that moment, they don't see outside of it. Is that just like a limitation of the work and how they're using it, is my question.
We'll find out.
Because Nicta saw the bird poop on Tally, but was it because she could see the bird, or because the bird impacted Tally directly in that 1 minute moment when Nicta was looking into the future that she saw it then? But, like, I don't know. I wonder, is it work limitation, or can they not see that? Is there a radius? I don't know. But we didn't see that far into the future.
Hopefully we will find out. I mean, I know we will find out more about this work, because you see in the trailer Tally's eyes going red and having vision. So
for sure. So we shall see. But I love when, like, Scylla's getting mad and, like, attacking Tally back to present time. Raylla tries to comfort Scylla, like, hey, maybe don't be so harsh on Tally. And like Scylla like is like, get the fuck away from me in a way, because like again, it's not just Tally. It's like you guys were breaking all the rules. Like I think she just feels very betrayed right now, and it's like there's nothing easy about this. And I feel like she's tried to tell this to them, but like no one's listening to Scylla is part of what's happening here. Because like I feel like her and Nikta had to have explained what life on the run is like, and just nobody's listening to her. So like I think she's just upset for multiple reasons, and like she's like, hey, there's real consequences to this. Like now everybody's fucked. Like these are people's lives you just hurt. Like people who used to be like me. And I think the only person who really grasps that in this moment is Tally, because Tally is a conscious and she's actually very upset. And I think she does understand. She's like, I was trying to help people by like learning new work. And like I ended up hurting everybody by like being on the roof and trying to learn new work. And so I think Tally is the only one that's like really getting the gravity of like what just happened to everyone and is just like very upset. And I think at some point she's going to feel guilty about what we were just talking about, that like she was looking into the future but didn't see this. And so I don't know if that's going to be like motivation for Tally to be like, I need to be even better at this, like so that I don't make a mistake like this and so that I don't miss opportunities to help people or like avoid things like that. So that feels like something Tally would do, but I don't know. Like, yeah. Again,
Time will tell.
Time will tell, and like Tally's taking the heat, but this was all of them. It wasn't just Tally. Abigail went into town.
Adil went into town with her.
Adil went with her. Like
Raylla hasn't done anything.
Raylla won't change her face because of
that's the only thing she's done. Like whatever.
But, like, if
be
Raylla,
a dick to Scylla.
if Raylla was more reasonable at the face changing stuff, like I don't know, then maybe the unit would be behaving differently. But anyway, it takes a village is all I'm saying, and Scylla deserves to be fucking upset about this because
she does.
They screwed her personally over with this. So
yeah, like her contact, because the next scene is Scylla saying goodbye to Tiffany, and she's trying to console Tiffany about having to move on. And by saying, you know, all the things that you are going to say to a child in this situation that you know probably aren't true, but you're trying to give them hope. So it's like, maybe the next place will be better. You never know. And Tiffany's like, listen, the last place was a freaking grain silo with like rotten sorghum and rats and shit. So I don't like, we had a good thing going here. And like your friends have ruined it. What the hell? So like Tiffany and Scylla, I think it's like really. That's why Scylla was so frustrated, like you said, because nobody was listening to her, but also because now this is like she's seeing every single person affected by this, and Tiffany's one of them, and it's like, guys.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is the real consequence. And like you have to imagine like Scylla as a Dodger has had this happen where like they get burned for one reason or other and they have to leave. And so and Tiffany was already struggling with it. So
yeah.
It's very sad, you know?
And Scylla says something to her that I feel like either her parents or someone in her past said to her when she was a kid. And it's home isn't a place, it's the people you love.
Yeah.
So I'm like, girl, the only person Tiffany really has is you.
Right. Oh, that's what makes it so heartbreaking. Because like Scylla now has like Raylla, but like Tiffany has no one. Really, she kind of has Scylla, but like she wasn't really supposed to be with Scylla. Scylla's there because of this whole stuff that happened with the unit. So like, poor Tiffany has no one. Like, you know, it's so like telling
and
that
Tiffany
to her,
knows that.
Yeah, it's so her situation is not really fully the same because like Scylla got to dodge with her parents for a bit, and like Tiffany is dodging by herself as a kid. Like it's a little bit different their situation.
Yeah, Scylla was 16 when her parents died, so she had a good amount of time with her parents to kind of learn the ways of dodging before. And Tiffany's just out here in the freaking wild by herself with Mac.
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah. A
And
guardian.
no, Scylla was saying, I feel like Scylla was saying something that was said to her repeatedly, hoping that was like the only thing she like had left, really, was to say that one thing. But Tiffany is not having any of it, and she just like walks away and gets into the car. And Matt comes out and won't even speak to Scylla. And that's just the consequences of everyone's actions. Well, I mean, Tally, yes, is the one that got caught, but she's not the only one that broke the rules. And so this is it. Like, you've burned Scylla's like contacts, you burned Scylla's the goodwill with the Dodgers. You done fucked up, fam.
Yeah. For real. And I think there's something very potentially foreshadowy in this whole thing as well. The way the Dodgers are kind of reacting to them. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's summed up in the line that Tiffany says, where she says, "Your friends ruin what we have here, and now we have to run for our lives." So I
Yeah.
think this sentiment coming from a Dodger is dangerous because they thought they could hide with the Dodgers because the Dodgers would understand because the Dodgers are fugitives from the law and so is the unit. So they're like, well, we can hide with them. But if the Dodgers are in a situation where they're blaming the unit, or the unit is now putting them in a situation where it's like, well, it's your safety or our safety, like maybe if they come into a situation again where a Dodger has to choose my safety or their safety, they would be motivated to turn them in. So, potentially that could be downfall of the unit, like a Dodger that gets captured by these cops or something, like snitches on them because people will do all kinds of things when their safety is being threatened and they have no power. So like burning bridges with this group is really dumb. Like, so maybe that will haunt them.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, that's very possible. So,
Yeah.
um, but we switched from that really, really
Oh, wait.
sad.
Wait, I have one last little thing. So Tiffany on her luggage has a stuffed bear.
Oh.
Where's the bird, Scylla? Where's the stuffed bird Tiffany gave you?
Oh,
Is,
Scylla,
is this confirmation that
you
Scylla
lost
raised the
it.
bird? I think so. Tiffany had to get a new fucking stuffed animal, Stella. She already lost it, guys. So whatever the bets were about that, it is gone. There is no stuffed bird.
Poor Tiffany. She
I
has to
know.
go through all of this crap.
She keeps taking somebody else. I feel so bad for her. Poor Tiffany. Justice for Tiffany.
We're gonna have to give that girl a stuffed bird just to.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Her situation keeps getting sadder the more you look at it.
It does, and
It does.
I'm gonna have to get away from that depression right now.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
By the way, Ava was really good at looking sad, so
I know.
it's 5 points.
5 points.
Okay, so Anacostia and M are in DC. Outside some place where Hurst and Silver, the evilest of Dumb and Dumber, are meeting with some cabinet members. Woohoo, I guess. And the only access to the vents in this building, the ventilation system, if you will, is from the roof. And that's what M is good at reaching. M is your infiltration specialist. So
Damn right.
yeah, they're standing on the street looking pretty conspicuous, but also kind of cool.
It's on brand for witches, you know.
I do like this whole incognito ball cap look for M.
It is a choice, yes.
So Anacostia tells M that the lobby is cleared, and it's their cue to go infiltrate. And that's where we leave them.
So while they're doing that, Isadora is having her grand vaccine experiment out in the witch gardens under like a huppah. It's like a wedding is happening.
What
Which,
is? Oh,
listen,
it's a hoppa.
it's a huppah. Yes. With purple flowers. It's like Isadora went all out. She's like, listen, if I'm going to reveal my magical, amazing vaccine I took a month to come up with, we're going to make this as ceremonious fucking possible because Isadora never gets to do ceremonial stuff. So this was all her idea. And she's like, the first, I was going to say victim, the first recipient is none other than our fearless leader. So it's like a sign of solidarity. Petra goes first to be like, it's totally safe. I'm the leader. I'm doing it first. So very like lead by example. And the way Isadora administers the vaccine. So when we saw the trailer, we saw that weird scene where like that glass spirally tubing thing falls and shatters, which spoiler happens in this scene. It's Isadora's vaccine inoculator, I guess, and it is a magical vaccine. So what she does is she essentially takes that device. It has like cones on two ends and like a spirally tube that connects them, and she like does work into one end, and then it like inoculates into the vocal cords through this device. And it seems to go well. Like Petra's like, hey, I'm still standing. I feel great. Next soldier, your turn now. And like, because all these soldiers are like lined up ceremonially. And they're all like getting excited, and the next soldier steps up. But then all hell breaks loose, and that low-hanging storm does its thing. It starts raining like black goo everywhere. It's almost like witch plague is falling from the sky. And it starts like killing plants, and then like the witches are like, fuck, it's a witch plague, and they go hide under awnings, whatever Isadora set up for this wedding, for her vaccine. And while this is all happening, and this raining and all this stuff, Penelope's voice comes overhead. And she's singing that song she originally sang when we first got introduced to her from like the first scene, I think, in last season, where she melts the stained glass in the church. And as she's like singing and the witch plague is killing stuff, it like starts, the voice augments a lot while she's singing and distorts like creepily. And Isadora is like watching this happen. First, she looks super devastated because like this was her big day. She spent a whole month figuring this shit out, and now this is happening. So she's devastated for science. But also, I think she's hearing Penelope's voice somehow, because she kind of like homes in on the voice. And at the end, she hears Penelope say, I suppose it's a little late for me, and like freaks out because she hears the voice, and like that's when she drops the like vaccine device, like in the trailer. And so I'm wondering if this is what's going to spark Isadora reaching out to Penelope in the afterworld, which we saw, spoiler, in trailers. So why is this happening? Is this leftover work from like Albin's master plan when she was like the host of the witch plague and it's just like hanging out? Is her ghost tethered to Fort Salem? We shall see, but Isadora is definitely on the case.
Yes, she is. Like,
she is intrigued.
There's too much Penelope in the air here.
Literally.
Like, literally. It is creepy, but also, oh hey, okay, cool. Penelope's back ish. She's still like when she exploded, all she did was just dissipate into the atmosphere, and then I guess enough of her came back together to actually make itself known. That's the only thing I'm getting.
Maybe.
Okay, physics.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Well,
so many questions. Yeah, is it the pieces of her that are still stuck to Fort, the goo that they're cleaning up? Is it? Mm-hmm. Is she the storm? Is she everything?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Particles in the atmosphere. I don't know. Whatever.
It's a Penelope storm, a silver storm, if you will.
A silver storm.
Silver storm.
Not a silver surfer, but a silver storm. Okay.
Yes.
I guess we'll find out someday, but for now, we're going to have to go back to M, who is being an infiltrator and getting into the ventilation ducts on the roof of this building. Yeah. Crawling along.
They are good at this.
Very good at this.
Very good.
Because of S's delightful circus training.
Yes.
So, pulling themselves along, and then the best part, the absolute best part of this whole scene for me is that little slide.
The belly slide.
The little penguin slide
Yes.
right on down to that last grate that is like the grate that's inside the room where we see Alvin giving his little speech. Is it Alvin and Kara and Silver?
VP. Yeah.
VP asshole. So Alvin is talking about witches and his usual spiel about how they're horrible and abominations and they need to be eradicated, blah, 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 blah. Basically, he's saying all of this to introduce the fact that they're about to try to poison the mycelium with the fungicide. And I do like that Kara bumps in with, like, saying that Alvin is dark. And then he's like, oh, dark enough to get the job done. And she's like, well, Blanton's darker. And it's like, yeah, because he killed his daughter.
But also, like, the look he gives her when she says that, he's like, I made that guy. I'm the one that inoculated.
Yeah, me.
He almost looks offended in a way. I get the sense that, like, him and Kara, like Alvin and Kara, don't really get along. Like,
no,
or at least
they do not.
He doesn't like her. Yeah.
No, I don't think she likes him either, but she tolerates him because he's so useful and high up. Like, he's the one that comes up with all this stuff.
Yeah, she's the money. He's the brains. Silver's like the face of it, I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, witches' influence have grown. He's referring to the mycelium, and he says these craven mongrels.
Such an Alvin line
in this show. It's so
an Alvin. It's so
I bet Bob had a lot of fun saying that.
I will say his delivery of all of this is so fucking refreshing.
It's on. Especially when he's talking to Kara about whatever bullshit she's on about. Oh,
yes.
his response. Bob.
Yeah.
I hate that you make me enjoy watching
this. I literally hate this scene, but I love his performance. He's very talented.
That's it. We hate this scene and everything it stands for, but we love his performance.
Yeah, he's so dramatic when he talks. I love it. It's fun.
He's such theater.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's just basically telling everybody, yeah, we're going to poison the mycelium.
Yep. That's where your money's going. Question about this scene, though. Well, first of all, okay, here are my notes. I hate this plan and everything about it, number one. Number two. Kara, when she's talking about the mycelium and the plan, mentions, like, something about our scholars have confirmed this. So, like, Camarilla has scholars looking into all this shit. So, interesting. So, they're not just, like, goons with money. They, like, have people studying all of this shit that are, like, knowledgeable. So, like, they've infiltrated academia. That's what I take that to mean. And then question about, like, who else is in this room. So, like, from the exterior shot with, like, M and Mama Costa, it kind of looks like a government building, but I don't really know. They're in, like, the northeast of America. A lot of buildings look like that, so kind of hard to tell. So my question is, like, who are the other people in the room? Are they, like, Camarilla higher-ups, or are these, like, government cronies in their pocket kind of thing? I couldn't really tell.
Were both.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know that they're super high up people. I think these are the government lackeys that work for the Camarilla, and they're like, because, like, Alvin seems like he's super high up just in general. Like, Kara has a bunch of money, so I'm sure she has more influence than a politician, and Silver seems pretty in on, like, the higher ups plan. So I think these people in the room are, like, lower on the totem pole, but, like, they're the government people that need to know the plan because they need to do permits and, like, whatever to get the drilling.
Got that it was, like, the cabinet members, like Wade's cabinet members.
Oh, all right.
So, like, the relevant cabinet members that they would need to put this plan in place. So, like, maybe Department of Interior or wherever they're drilling. I don't know.
Right. But I think it's the Camarilla people.
Exactly, because, like, the Camarilla ones.
Right, because the way they're speaking, it's very, like, clear, like, we're doing this to
Mm-hmm.
exterminate witches. It's not like the way Silber was talking with a reporter when he's like, it's for their safety, or like doing that like double speak politician language that's gross. Like, they're being very direct. They're like, this is to exterminate them. Like, so it's clearly Camarilla people. Yeah, so I think it's Camarilla government people, like you're saying, that are going to like enact this plan, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that all that to say is that I think that if you look at it, it can almost look like it's like cabinet members of the Camarilla, like leadership. I don't think that's what this is. We're saying this is probably government workers that are on the Camarilla payroll that are going to enact this plan, basically. So we haven't seen anybody higher up than Albin, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. My question is, so they think that the mycelium is the source of witches' work, and that is not, I don't think that's the case.
No, I agree with you. That is not the case.
How could that is not the case. You jackwagons.
So their scholar is misinformed. I think that the mycelium has power that enhances the witches, but that is not the source of their power.
The mycelium is a source. The mycelium is not a source of their power. The mycelium was created by their power.
Right.
Was created by the power of Sarah Alder's song. Therefore,
yes, I agree with that.
Y'all be dumb, and I'm down with. I mean, go ahead, be dumb.
However, I agree with you. I think that it's the source of their power is flat out wrong. I do think it enhances their powers because in nature, mycelium, underground, are used by like trees to like help trees communicate with each other and strengthen their communities and share nutrients. So like myceliums can be used to like enhance nature. And so I think in some form, having the mycelium now in modern times enhances witches' powers, but like it's not the source of their power. So like maybe it'll make them less powerful or like knock out some capabilities, but you're not going to like stop magic altogether by like killing this.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you 100%. Like, it obviously it's giving Raylla enhanced powers.
I mean, yes, Raylla is like the exception, like the extreme example, but like I wonder if it helps like the witches at Fort Salem because they're close. You know what I mean? Like I think it has broader purposes, but it's not going to stop magic by stopping this. Is like is their scholars are wrong.
Correct.
Yeah. Alrighty. So after that really gross meeting with Bob's great performance, we are back to the fugitives. They are back on the run in a van because the Dodgers kicked them out. They're like, we're leaving. Fuck you. You're on your own. So Nick just stole a van and maybe she glamored it. Maybe she didn't. They're all in there and they're driving. Who knows where? Maybe they're going to go find Quinn. We'll find out. They're probably going to the session or some shit. I don't know. But Tally's in the back beating herself up about all of this because like it's Tally and she feels guilty and is blaming herself even though fucking Abigail helped, which Abigail tries to like confront or comfort Tally and be like, hey, I helped too. I was also breaking the rules. I just didn't get caught. Like humble brag. But Tally's just like really down. She like feels like all she does is like wrong things. And like whatever she does, it like she thinks she's doing the right thing. And then she does something and then it ends up backfiring majorly. Like the whole Nicta trial ended up in Sarah Alder getting killed. And then like now she was just trying to like learn magic and then it fucked up the Dodgers. And she's like, I must be the Camarilla's greatest weapon because every time I do something, it just helps them. And so poor baby Tally's having like an identity crisis a little bit and just like not dealing with this really well. So like everybody in the van basically tries to comfort her. And even Scylla apologizes for like lashing out because Scylla had every right to be mad. But like, again, Tally wasn't the only one that led to this. She was just the punching bag in that moment. And so I agree with Scylla apologizing, but like she has every fucking right to be mad at them. And the only person in this van who's not like comforting Tally is Nicta, who's like over all of this. And she's like, what's next, guys? A pillow fight? Like, what is this? Like, and Kalita takes that moment to assert her dominance and is like, drive, Patan. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, she whips out her big witch energy and is like, can you just drive and shut the fuck up? Like, she's the only adult. And like, this is, the child is like, shut up, adult, and just do what I say. Again, Kalita hasn't changed. Everyone is her bitch. Like, I love it.
Just drive, Batan. That's my other favorite line.
Just drive, Batan. You're my bitch. Just don't fight me. After Kalita does that, the mood changes in the van, thanks to Kalita. And so Scylla tries again to like get them to do fucking spree work because they have no choice, and it's basically like learns how to talk to Abigail, and basically is like, hey, like I know you want to talk to your mom. I might have a way for you to do that. It's spree work, but like you could talk to her directly. And that's something Abigail's been triggered about, and so that like entices her. And so good on you, Scylla. You learned how to talk to Abigail.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that leads us to when they stop at the gas station.
Good scene.
Which was, totally on our road trip list of things. So Abigail like sprints for the bathroom. Because that's where the mirror is located. And the spree work that Scylla was referring to was using the mirror to communicate like they did with the balloons that you see appear in the mirrors and the whole spree communication system, obviously through mirrors. So Petra is in her office and just happens to be walking by a mirror when she hears Abigail saying, "Mom."
How convenient. I do love
convenient.
That. What happens if they're not by the mirror? So,
I know. Like, is there a little ding that goes off? Can you come to the mirror, please?
No, imagine Petra's not in the room and like Abigail's trying and the office assistant comes by and is like, the fuck
is going on?
The fuck is going on? I would also take that scene, but
I would also, really good. Absolutely.
That'd be hilarious.
So Petra just happens to be by the mirror to answer the call.
Answer the call, Petra.
And so they get straight to it because Petra's like, we probably don't have a lot of time, so where's next? So Abigail relays to her all this information while looking very, very emotional and distraught, and I hate it. I'm feeling emotions. I don't like it.
I know.
So Raylla can get them into the session, and then in a couple of weeks they should be in NorCal. So we kind of have a where we're going type of conversation and gets us ready for what's coming. Petra's like, Abigail's like, hey, so when are we going to get exonerated? And Petra's like, well, about that. It's kind of complicated.
Yeah, the president kind of fucking hates us, There's a coup happening,
So Alder burned a bridge and done fucked up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You guys remember that.
The president hates us.
She does.
The Camarilla, his influence is more widespread than we thought.
Yeah.
And then Abigail's like, Mom, I'm so tired. I'm tired of running, is basically what she's saying. And Petra is obviously going to give her the pep talk of the patented Petra Army pet talk.
Yeah.
Like, rely on your unit, etc., etc. And also, oh, hey, by the way, so that guy said something about you and Adele.
Yes.
And it's like, so yeah, the union of earth and sky.
And Abigail's like,
is it about our work? She's like, flashback to the baby conversation. Oh.
Which, if it was Tally, makes this more amazing.
Right? Anyway. Abigail has to go. So the mirror kind of like, her image disappears from the mirror, and then Petra's kind of left on her own, and she turns around and she is basically like doing the Petra version of I'm about to ball.
Yeah, she's like gripping the mantle. Like, she's losing it. Like, wow.
I feel like she's trying not to lose it, but she's losing it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Ugh, which it's more heartbreaking when it's a character who like never breaks, you know? When they
Mm-hmm.
break, it's wow. Like that scene. Honestly, they have some really powerful scenes together, the two
They
of
do.
them. They really do. So this one was my favorite scene, honestly, in this episode. It was so good.
The
Short, but
scene
really good.
from last season when Petra admits to being scared.
Yeah.
It was that
Yeah.
kind of scene, and it just gets you right in the feels.
Yeah.
Because you
It really
don't get to
does.
feel with Petra a lot. You get
No.
very,
It's
like,
guarded.
yeah, very guarded, very, this is the face of the army type thing. But we got another glimpse into that emotional side, like Petra's love for her daughter and her worry about her daughter. I mean, she's constantly worrying about Abigail.
Yeah.
So, like, can you imagine she's been going absolutely bananas, not only having to deal with this whole Camarilla thing, but also the fact that her daughter is the one that they're trying to, like, find and kill, basically,
Yeah. Yeah. And
along with the
like
other fugitives.
if you think about Petra, like in this at this point in time, she's technically like the most powerful witch in America. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but she can't talk to her daughter. Like it's like the one thing she
Yeah.
probably really wants to do and has been able to do her whole life, she can't do. So it's like a thing she's being denied too. Like on top of the fact that it is her daughter and everything you just said. Like it's obviously very much weighing on her and like she just like lets it all out. But like again, she knows that Abigail is scared, like can tell that. And so she like again has to stay guarded and like strong for Abigail, but like loses it the minute Abigail's gone. Like it's just it's got to be
Uh,
hard for her, you know. Ugh, yeah.
Abigail gets back on the bus and sits down in that very back seat. So we get a shot of the unit all together holding hands as they drive away. And it's so emotional, and it will like just like hit you right in the gut.
It's unity.
So it's like, let us begin again.
Yes, let us begin and grow and do better next time.
Yes.
And then
And
we end
that's
this up.
that.
And then that's that. And then we end the episode with a super random scene. We're out in, I guess, Ireland. I don't know where the fuck we are. We're not in Midwest. We're somewhere where a magical sheep herder is like minding his own business, just like singing a song, summoning a storm, and also Sarah Alder out of the ground. And so Sarah manifests from mushrooms and like I guess through the mycelium and just like takes corporeal form and then just like listens to this dude's song until he realizes what the fuck's happening. He's like, I thought I was alone with my sheep. Who the fuck are you? And she's just like, well, please don't stop singing on my account in mother tongue. And then it ends. So Alder's back thanks to this random dude. And I guess we'll learn more next time about Alder.
Yeah, all right. She
Sure.
really is the mushroom lady.
She sure I mean, she's not a tree anymore, so it's an
No, she's
upgrade.
not. We're upgraded.
We've gone from the flora family to the fungi family,
Mm-hmm.
maybe back to mammals. We shall see if this is temporary or a new thing with Alder. Who knows?
Yeah,
But Lynn's back.
Lynn's back, and a
Lynn's
really
back.
kind of cool thing that she showed on Instagram was that crazy, brilliant color to her eyes
Mm-hmm.
that they showed in the trailer is actually exactly what her eyes look like if you put light directly on them.
Oh damn.
It's
That must
really
have
cool. Like
that must have hurt.
she laid down. She was laying down, and there was like a shadow, and then there was a part of it was light kind of coming across her face on one part, and you see where the light is hitting her iris, and it lights her freaking eye up like that, and it
That's
looks
crazy.
luminescent. It's really cool. I'll find it and send it to you.
How is Lynn a real person is my question.
It's another freaking good
I
question.
don't get it. Is she
I
actually a goddess? Is my question.
Okay, I was in her presence, actually, literally, and she is
Yeah.
real, but she is also like that
Thanks
person
for
that you're like,
confirming.
Hi, are you... did you come out of... did Mount
Did it
Olympus?
fall? Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Did it?
Did it hurt when you fell from Mount Olympus, you great goddess?
It's true.
Anyway,
Anyway,
there you
so
have it.
that's a question we'll probably never get an answer to. But like, Lynn, ma'am, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Ooh,
Oh my goodness, I'm like, we're at the point. Okay,
ooh.
this one's yours. You gonna sum this one up?
All right. Before we sum it up, though, I just want to add a couple of things about from After the Storm that we didn't really talk about. Which is basically Eliot was talking about like things that are kind of going to happen going forward. So he like gives us a little bit of hints. So he gives us clips of like stuff from the trailer, and one of the clips is of remember those witches that are like sitting on the ornate couches in front of those dramatic drapes, and we were talking about in our trailer episode that like, oh, maybe it's like a session council and all that kind of stuff, and he definitely confirms that those are indeed indigenous witches. And he talked about how this season we're going to talk about like we're going to see more of their culture and how indigenous witches are actually treated in America. And so if it's anything like reality, it's probably bad. But we're going to see that. And then we are in fact going to the matrifocal compound, and there's like a clip of like Tally and Mama Craven and then a group of other witches. So maybe we'll get to meet like the witches that helped raise Tally or who she grew up with in the matrifocal compound. So that should be kind of interesting. And we get to see some of their magic that's unique. And then Eliot said, let's see what you think about this. He said his goal is to end this season on a provocative what if that like rivals season 1. What do you think about that?
So I think that he's going to tie some stuff up, and then at the end of that, he's like, and then I'm going to leave with this mic drop. So here's the mic drop.
It's
and it gives you a possible continuance for a season 4 when we save the show.
It's so rude, Eliot. And we now know the title of the last episode is Revolution Part 2.
Yes, thank you for freaking tying that up for us.
He's tying it up, but then not tying it up because it's going to be a provocative what if we get. So take your anti-anxiety meds now is all I'm saying. It's just going to be anxiety at the end.
Share the Xanax.
Share the Xanax and hydrate for Lesbian Jesus. Okay, so just wanted to get that out there. Now, takeaways of this episode. The unit's on the run, but they're being dumb as fuck because they won't use spree magic. So hopefully that changes. Because in this episode, there's major consequences. Namely, they were outed and on the move again, and they burned the Dodger family. So great job, guys. Scylla's pissed off about this, as she should be, but she has a lot of good stuff going on because her and Raylla have reconciled and are seeming to forge a better relationship together. Speaking of relationships, Abigail and Adil are being weird as fuck with each other and may have a baby this season. We'll see, unless Tally was cosplaying Adil and just was really flirting. And it's gone very wrong.
Canon interpretation canon to me. I'm sorry.
It's a takeaway until we are proven wrong. It's a takeaway. Because Tally had to do that because she has been flirting low-key with Nicta this whole time for this month. But also trying to get Nicta to teach her how to use her sight, and Tally is using it, and hopefully we'll get better at it and see both forwards and backwards, so we'll get to see what could be, and then probably stuff about those ancient witches, because Eliot basically dry snitched about that. So Tally's on a journey. But she's feeling a little bit guilty at the end of this episode, so I think Tally's going to go on some self-discovery thing. So, main takeaway there. Back at Fort Salem, Isadora made a vaccine, but the rollout was a disaster, much like the rollout of COVID vaccines in America. So, Eliot, being historically accurate here, didn't go well. For some reason, Penelope, via the witch plague, maybe, is haunting Fort Salem, but don't worry, Isadora's on the case. TBD. Petra is trying to fill Alder's shoes the best she can. seems like it's going well, but the big thing, besides reality of being hated by everybody in the government that's weighing Petra down, is like her daughter's on the lam and she can't talk to her. But by the end of the episode, they're able to use spree work, finally, and see each other through the mirrors. They have a very tender moment, but also like, hey, we'll talk to each other soon. So now we have a link to Fort Salem. I mean, we already had one because Anacostia and Scylla are still talking, so Cordohorn is at it. But anyway, Anacostia is also super busy being the best intelligence agent they've probably ever had, because spying is not great at Fort Salem. And she has recruited M and also Sterling to kind of help her infiltrate the Camarilla through VP Silver, and also M physically infiltrating. And so they learn the Camarilla, they learn about Alvin Hurst, first of all, who he is, and he's a key player, and that he is plotting to poison the mycelium, basically, and destroy all of witches by doing that. So that's going on. And then the Camarilla have they're not only like moving with their influence to do this, they've also created new tech work to see through witches' work. And so it's becoming a very dangerous time for witches right now. VP Silver is trying to identify every single witch in America under the guise of protecting them. So witch hunting is happening right now. And Wade is not fighting it. Well, maybe we'll see what's going on with Wade. But it's not looking good for witches. The Camarilla seems to be really upping their efforts and is probably going to turn up the heat on all the witches. And they're getting closer to the unit based on that Dodger raid. So that's the main takeaway. Oh, and also, I guess we saw the first song in Ancient Witches, and so that's a thing that we'll be exploring more.
We saw the birth of language and and Alder with a sheep herder.
Oh yeah, Alder's back, and she's with a sheep herder, so TBD.
TBD. Isadora's on it, except not.
Isadora will be on it at some point once she knows what the fuck's happening.
Oh my god.
She's got a Penelope to find, or whatever.
Manifest. She's got a Penelope to manifest.
Spoiler, yes.
Yeah. No, you got... but here's the question. Who's your award going to?
Okay, this was a hard one because everyone in this episode was a mess and fucked up at least once. So the only person who didn't do that, in my opinion, was Kalita. So Kalita wins because all of her scenes were big witch energy. Like, she's just like, hey, let's have a lesson where I casually teach you about the history of language and then teach you that language. And then later she basically tells Nikta to shut the fuck up and do what she says, even though Nikta's the only adult and the founder of the spree. So Kalita gets it in my book because she's a boss and she's always a boss. And everybody else was a mess, honestly.
Accurate. I agree, Kalita. I'm gonna give her my honorable mention always Big WE award.
Yes,
because
fair.
she's Kalita.
She's Kalita.
But in this case, I chose Nikta for her tutoring Tally and how she's advancing Tally. I mean, I feel like her giving Tally the key to her sight is going to be what drives the season forward.
Yes.
And so also for having the sense to change faces.
She had the brain cell.
Yeah, I mean, she and Scylla.
Yes.
Scylla doesn't know how to get out of the face correctly, but...
No, Scylla doesn't get it this episode because of the cops.
Exactly.
Putting her face in front of cops.
Oh, God. Scylla.
She never learns. No. Other than that, she's a contender this episode. Adil could have maybe got it if he did anything. And also, flirting...
No, creeped me out.
You creeped me out this episode, so I didn't give to him for that reason. And then everybody else was like a mess.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't have given it to him anyway because he helped Abigail.
Right, he's enabling her behavior is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
He's definitely enabling her.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Anacostia was up there because she was kicking ass this episode.
She
But
was.
Kalita beat her. Like, she was my runner-up, but like Kalita was just all of her scenes. You just can't beat her, is all I'm saying. It's very hard.
Yeah. Alita.
Oh, Kalita. All
All
right.
right.
Well, since we're at the end, do you want to comment on the promo for next week's episode?
I called it.
Called what?
Raylla gonna be sinking into the mycelium.
You did call it. Yeah, Raylla going into the mycelium. Confirmed. The same way that mushrooms spit out alder,
Yeah.
it's taking Raylla in. All right.
Okay, but the unit or the fugitives running into Alvin Hurst and like having a tete-a-tete with him and then him taunting okay, here's the thing. Alvin, you have the biggest balls in America because you are taunting Scylla Big Witch Energy Ramshorn by saying that you have brought more harm to the love of her life and future wife. That's a dumb move.
Yeah, I feel like
IMHO.
that is gonna backfire majorly. Very much majorly.
Yeah.
But we finally get them interacting.
Yes, that I'm happy about. I need to see this. Like, I want to see what the hell happens to where I feel like they've got Albin and either they've got Albin and they're like, oh, we're gonna take you, we're gonna get all these. I don't know. Like, do they have Albin hostage, or is Albin just like, feel like Albin would go with him just for the whole fact of like he wants to be around them.
Right, he wants to learn and study. He's basically the Camria's version of Isadora, but worse, like because he's on the Camria's side. But like, yeah, he'd be curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that could go either way for sure. I'm not sure, but he's not like nobody is tied up in any of those scenes. So it's like,
No.
right, who's infiltrating what? It's kind of hard to say because like I don't know, like the opening of the trailer is like it looks like the unit infiltrating somewhere because they're like Abigail's using weatherwork, so like maybe they're going after wherever he is or breaking out of wherever he kidnapped them. It's kind of hard to say, but no one's tied up in that scene, so it's who's the prisoner.
Yeah, and so he's taunting Scylla, and then afterwards we get the scene of Raylla sinking into the mycelium in a tent. So here's my cue. That has to take place before the scene where Albin's taunting Scylla, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well,
so
I don't know if he starts because his language is like he says something about the mycelium, and he's like, "Oh, how's Raylla feeling?" Basically, so like. Meaning, I think they've already started poisoning the mycelium, is what, because like the trailer says the mycelium is poisoned. So I think the mycelium is poisoned first. Raylla starts feeling terrible. I don't know if she's been sucked into the mycelium yet, but like something's gonna be wrong with Raylla at the very least.
Right.
But maybe he's like hinting something bad's about to happen to her, and like I don't know, because it's hard because the way it's cut, it almost looks like that happens later, but maybe it doesn't.
Well, I say that because Raylla's not there.
Well, if Raylla's sick, she can't be running around with them.
But where would Scylla leave her?
I don't know.
In the tent?
Right, in the tent.
So Scylla like leaves her in the tent, and
Where's
then
Quinn? Just Quinn.
And then they come back, and she's sinking into the earth.
Yeah, I don't know. If Raylla's already taken, it would give Scylla more smoke for Alvin, which would be fun. But I don't know.
All right. The teaser scenes start with the one with M. M. Why is my brain saying M? Oh my gosh.
I was just gonna go through the trail.
I mean, we don't have to. We don't have to go through the teaser scenes.
I have the whole like I put the link in the show notes for the thing if you wanted to go through it. I don't remember the teasers off the top of my head. Is it? I don't remember one with M.
I may be crazy.
Shush, Caitlin. This will be quick.
Yeah.
All right. Basically, main takeaways. All right. If I missed something, just let me know. But like, yeah, it looks like we have Arlen hanging out, which is nice. We're gonna get. It looks like that scene with at Petra's house with like all the government people.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to see Wade probably, and all of that crap is going to go down at Petra's house we saw from the trailer. And then it looks like the unit and Nicta is definitely on the run. And Rail's okay. Then they're definitely going to run into the session marshal. Because we get that scene where he sees through Adil's work. So that's coming. So they make it to the session, it looks like, next episode. And then what else we got going on here? Yeah, there's definitely a scene in here with the something going into the ground. So I guess Albin is definitely poisoning the mycelium.
The fungicide going into the ground.
Yeah, and Scylla's commenting on it when they're in the woods. So it's happening while they're like
camping out.
Yeah, so like I think that Raylla is gonna start feeling sick.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna note, and that's how they put this together. Right. And so I don't know, like if that's before or after Albin.
Because then he goes, I noticed Blondie isn't with you, so they left her.
Right, Rail's not there. But like, did the mycelium take her to protect her? Like, that's gonna be an interesting question. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see. I think we're getting that shot where Nicta blows up the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
The whole gang meets her. So it almost looks like they infiltrate some warehouse kind of area, whether they're hiding there or going after him.
Probably where they're keeping whatever bullshit they're poisoning.
Yeah, I wonder if they somehow track it and like he's there because he's overseeing this and it's like, oh, witches, great. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes down. But like everybody seems to interact with him. Tally's there, Adil, and then Raylla. And then I guess the only other thing that isn't in this is like the Raylla teaser by the boat with that Exodus Bible verse on it.
And the one in the office with... There's one in an office.
Oh, I didn't see that one. So before Raylla gets incapacitated, we get a couple of Raylla scenes, so that'll be nice. So there's your goodbye moment. It's probably gonna be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's your goodbye moment, and then we've got
there's your goodbye.
Scylla running through the forest to try to get to Raylla before she's taken.
Right. She's sinking into the mushroom pit. So.
And it looks like, seeing this scene, it looks like Abigail and Tally, or it looks like Abigail's coming out of a tent. So they're like,
they're camping. Yeah, maybe they're camping in the woods.
Up or something?
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So maybe she's feeling sick. The mycelium gobbles up Raylla. Then Albin happens later. And Scylla's fucking pissed. Either way, I want her to do harm to him. That's on my wish list.
A lot of harm.
So much harm. Yeah. Anyway, shit's definitely going down in the next episode. That's it. And they're probably getting, I don't know, captured by the session people, or they're going to be on the run. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't look good for everybody in the next episode.
Nope.
But, oh well.
I guess we'll find out on Tuesday.
I guess we'll find out on Tuesday. Any other thoughts, predictions before we sign off?
I'm not prepared.
We are not prepared. Who is? And you know what? We don't have to be unprepared and sad and anxious alone. So if there's anything you want to talk about the last episode we just saw, predictions for the next episode, please reach out to us, console us, hug each other, because it's going to get rough next week, guys.
Yeah, anything we forgot, let us know. Whatever you want to hear
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Now is the time. How are you feeling?
Yes.
How are you doing? Was your premiere day good for you? Let us know.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Are you okay? It's okay if you're not. There's a
Yeah,
lot
'cause we're
going
not.
on. We're not. Obviously. Are we ever?
No.
No.
Not really.
We're not okay, but we have Motherland back. So, silver lining, guys.
Yeah, it is. All right. I
Yeah.
can roll with it.
We can roll with that. And I think that'll take us into episode 2.
Yes.
Let's get ready,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you for joining us in video this time.
Yes, thank you for sticking with us.
Or on the actual podcast apps if you're listening that way.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Later. And with that, we've been Big Witch Energy. If you like this episode, check out all of our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please like, comment below, and subscribe for more amazing content. Hydrate for Lesbian Jesus.